Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And once again, due to family reasons, I'm late for the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. It's a necessary situation, of course, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully you'll understand. But the show still goes on Wednesday night. Again, the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. And the question is, why credit? Ladies and gentlemen, 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. You're going to need credit to dig your way out, but that also means accumulating more debt. We don't want that for you. So we do always have a plan. Just remember, no matter how dark it looks, there is always a plan that you can put into place. Oftentimes, people don't like the pain that they may have to deal with because they could be restricted, but it does not matter. You have to get there because guess what? Prices are not going down, ladies and gentlemen. There is no plan for it to go down by this administration. Therefore, there's only one way it can go. No plan is a plan. And welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. Stop struggling now, gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. You know what comes next? Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. First things first, just so everybody can get a preview of where I'm coming from. This is going to be a short video today because all of you on podcasts, these 3 hours, we can't do 2 hours. We can't do, I'm trying to do 45 minutes to an hour for this one. And then I'll see you on Friday night. And you know what happens Friday night? Story night. Friday nights. That's right. All right. Don't miss that as well. Now, let's get into the first. Please share the videos because you never know who's out here looking for the information. That's the first thing. All right. Second thing, let me see who's in the house tonight. We have post retirement travel here. Mr. Worldwide 2 is in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. And he brings his tagline this evening. Hello, all. Let's do this. He means let's do this because you need your pen, pads, and papers ready because you never know what could be talked about because the chat room's open. We're an equal opportunity chat platform. We're not scared. If you have a question, ask. If you have a comment, make it. If you want to have a conversation, we're in. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being in the house in post-retirement travel. Thank you for being in the house with the icon next to your name, which I humbly appreciate, which means he's a member of the channel, supporting. Stop struggling now. I greatly appreciate it. And now you know what's going to happen. You know I want to find out about what your decision was in the Dominican Republic. I think I know. I think I remember. But I just want to confirm. I wanted to wait till you get back. Nah, the Connor Rock. That's the first one. I just want to confirm what you decided to do because it was still a great deal. I remember that. And you got the unit that you wanted. And you didn't pay the 400 G's, which, again, I'm glad you didn't. Now, the other part, the other side of the coin is the Capcana property. That is interesting because I did look at it. They do charge an arm and a leg. But is that an investment property? That's the only thing I'm asking. All right, let's get into it. He says, how about that stock market? It's expected. It's expected. NVIDIA came out Everything's going through, funneled through Nvidia. So of course they beat their expectations. Stock market says, yes, we get the rise, making the illusion. Again, I believe it's an illusion because it is. There is no way you can spend $600 billion and get back like 20 billion and think that's a good profit situation. That is never a good if you're going to spend 600 billion, 700 billion, $1 trillion, and somebody says all we get back is less than 10%, I'm sorry. I don't know what business is going to operate on 10% profits. Not a not profits, 10% revenue. No profits. That's an L. Unless, of course, you get government contracts. But that's another story for another day. Stay in the game. Great advice. You have to stay in the game. What have we been telling you, ladies and gentlemen? Regardless of what happens, regardless of the numbers, it does not have anything to do with financial. It has nothing to do with what the government's doing. Well, kind of. It has nothing to do with any of that. The Federal Reserve is here to serve the wealthy. That's it. The bankers, the financial institutions, the hedge funds, the stock market. That's why they have their own desk in the stock market to buy equities to make sure they don't go down. How plain and simple can we make this? The only reason there's going to be a meltdown is because of other forces that a government that is outside the Federal Reserve decides to do, such as what's been happening over the last 1 year. Even they have to pause for a second and be like, oh man, what are we going to do since they've done that? This is not normal. So therefore, they're just saying, no biggie, because we can print more money anyhow. So we don't really care if the middle class goes bye-bye. We don't really care if the lower class goes bye-bye, because we don't really care that the top 10% owns 70% of the wealth in America, soon to be 80%. I'm just saying. All right, enough. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen, because the first thing first, make sure you go to findhelp.org. That's it, findhelp.org if you're in the United States, because that's where you can get some help, much needed help. 8 out of 10 people need help in America financially or in other capacities. That's why you go to findhelp.org. So that's the first thing and number one thing. Why credit? Let's get down with the real reason why credit. There's the situation of if you're 8 out of 10 is living paycheck to paycheck, 20% or not. All right. That's not a very good number. All right. That's very, very bad. So therefore, the only way somebody could get ahead if you're living paycheck to paycheck is to use some sort of form of credit. Now, if you're going to use your credit, then you should be buying assets, not liabilities, because liabilities mean you use your credit, waste a bullet, and get nothing in return. And now you have to go buy more bullets. You have nothing in the chamber and you can't put one in the chamber. That is not a good recipe, ladies and gentlemen. So therefore, you have to free up your debt by getting rid of debt or redirecting what you're trying to do. If you owe $20,000, for instance, then maxed out your credit cards, or let's just put it 90% of the card is maxed out because that's what's happening here in America. They're living on credit cards here in America, going to the grocery store, using their credit cards to pay for their groceries, but then they're going to get caught because they did not buy assets. Those are consumables. You can't replace the money you spent on consumables. So therefore, you need to deal with your debt ASAP. And I mean ASAP. If prices next year, a year and 6 months from now, they go up another 30%, you're toast. You're toast. And they are going to go up another 30%, by the way, just to let you know. All right. Everything. I'm talking about your insurances, your foods, your everything. energy bills, everything. Okay. You're subsidizing the world, Americans. You guys didn't know that, did you? You didn't know that you paid the most for everything while the rest of the world gets to sit back and pay anywhere from a 10% to 20% to 30% to 40% of what you pay. You didn't know that, did you? I know. That's the thing. That's why you have to be like Mr. Worldwide, too, who's in the house tonight. You got to go around, ladies and gentlemen. Then you'll get a little more upset. Just saying. Now, the debt situation, go see Tracy Sharpe. Email her, tracy.sharpe, SHARPE, at moneyladder.com. I'm going to put it in the chat room. No matter where you're watching from, make sure you get this, all right? I don't want to leave you guys behind. This is very, very serious in what's going on right now. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. You need to do your own research. Go look at the numbers. How many manufacturing jobs are lost? How many jobs are lost that are livable wage jobs? You need to go look all this stuff up. All right. Then you'll understand where this goes. You understand what's going to happen with AI. They've already implemented AI and robots. That's why 40,000 people between Amazon and UPS were laid off. Those were well paying jobs. They're gone. Where are they going to work now? I'm asking. I'm asking. So if you would have had your credit reduced, you then can make other moves financially. Let's just use something, for instance, like a home, right? Everybody wants a home, but does it really matter if you rent or if you're buying a home? Because both are liabilities. One gives you one way where you can exit anytime you want. The second, you're tied into long term. In other words, property taxes, insurance aren't going anywhere. Or you can risk not having insurance and then lose all of your investment. Or I shouldn't use the word investment, lose all of your liability ownership. All right. So those are the type of things you have to not worry about. You don't have to be with the Joneses. You don't have to go, I got to buy a house. You don't have to do none of that. What you need to worry about is getting your debt in order. And this is why, let me see if I have it in the chat room. The email, it's in the chat room. You guys can find it on several different platforms and down below in the description box on several different platforms. And you'll also find the YouTube channel, which is here in the SSN Nation, where she came on almost 2 years ago when she worked for another company. And she explained exactly what they do. You don't have to file bankruptcy. You don't have to deal with debt collections. Don't just get with her ASAP. And that frees up money. So remember, post-retirement travel was saying, what about that stock market? What we've been saying for years. What about that stock market? If you already knew what we knew the Magnificent Seven was going to spend over $25 billion to buy back their stock in a 3-year plan. The 3-year plan is not over. So if you knew that already, and they actually are the bulk of the stock market indexes, and they get subsidies and they get government contracts, your taxpayer money, and they get stock market money, and their stock prices are going up, which now means they can go buy other companies and use their stock to buy it, free money to go buy more stuff that makes them money. You can see how their self-fulfilling prophecy means the stock market's going to continue to rise. This is not rocket science. This is why we had a countdown over 3 years ago where you had to get a 775 credit score in order. This is one way that you're going to do it. Just get rid of your debt. Lower it so you free up money that you can use to make investments so you don't get left behind. You're going to need passive income. You're going to need to enjoy price rises in the stock market while you're sleeping. All right. A friend of mine hit me up. They said, Eric, you want to do some investment in some stock stuff with us? I said, okay. So then I did the investment stuff. And they said, hey, how'd you pay for this? I said, when NVIDIA was like $40, when NVIDIA was like $60, Yeah, yeah. So I just sold a little bit of Nvidia because it's like 190 or 185, whatever it was. I said, yeah, I just sold a little bit of that. See, but you need disposable income in order to make these type of investments, right? It's very simple. Now, we're here to help. That's what we're talking about right now. Okay? So hopefully that gets you started on the bandwagon. And if you don't have your pen, pad, and paper, well, okay. If you find this on replay and you can't see the live chat, make sure you hit the comment, the very first comment, and then swipe left or swipe right. I don't know which one on the phone. And then it'll ask you if you want to go to the live chat. So then you can get these links. All right. Post retirement travel says for Connor Rock, I switched from Golf View to Ocean View on same fourth floor for 10K difference. Oh yeah, that's a no-brainer right there. It's worth 10K. That is here. I'm gonna do some 10K. Let me see something. 10K divided by 12. 10,000 divided by 12. That's the difference of $833 for the month divided by 4. That's the difference of $200 for a week. Now, I'm just going to say this because at your position being up close and in Rock, now called Macau, uh, Ocean View is is well worth 100 to $200 a night more than Golf View. So, just saying. Some people are like, "How does this guy know this stuff?" Okay, I've been doing this a long time, but I'm actually going to prove it to you as well. All right, post-retirement travel, great choice for Cap Cana. I decided to buy around the marinas. Okay, there's a project coming up in the next couple of months with Juanillo Beach View to be completed by 2029. We may do long-term rental on one of them. Now you're going to give me the price because once again, I think there's going to be some, even though it is in a five-star upscale location, even five-star upscale locations, when there's a meltdown, they still fall in price dramatically. And the reason why is because those people who own those properties, some walk away, they're wealthy already, and some just sell it. They're like, I bought it when it was half the price, and it's still 60% of the high. So I'll take my 10 to 15 to 20% profit and go. Plus, I got all this rental income coming in over the last 10 years. So I'm good. But if you want to go this route, good luck. Because again, I don't know what's going to happen because these guys are notorious for their the price increases and stuff. So we will see. Um, I agree with two things. If you're going to buy at the marina, that's fine. If the thing is, I think Ocean View equals hanging at the marina as well for Copcana in Copcana because for me, being around the little inlet thing, I'm just like, okay, that's cool, but I'd prefer more space. Other people prefer maybe city. So take your choice. But either way, it's a win-win. It's upscale luxury. And if the price is right, what's the price though on this? That's the question. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about real estate here in the Dominican Republic in Punta Cana area. There's a enclave called Cap Cana, which is an upscale luxury location within the Punta Cana area, and about 20 minutes west of the Punta Cana airport is Cana Rock, which is at the Hard Rock Casino and Hotel. All right. So that's the two places we're talking about. One of the things about your credit is even Freddie and Fannie Mae is saying, we're not going to take 620s anymore. We'll even go down to 580s. Freddie Mae, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Sorry. Um, just remember, just remember, they give you low interest rates. You have a cap though. You can't go around buying $1 million pad because that's over their cap. All right. But You can get the average price of a home in your area and probably 100,000 more than that. So most average prices in most places is 429,000 is the median price. So 520, 550 generally is going to buy you in a nice neighborhood potentially. So therefore 3%, 15, 1600 a month plus, well, property tax and insurance, you probably might be at 2,500. But at least you can still get in the game, but that's a liability. How about figuring out how to free up something and be in the stock market? And by the way, if some of you are watching and still aren't in the stock market, I don't know what to tell you. That seems kind of weird at this point. Watching all time record highs, and quite frankly, there's going to be some more all time record highs I predict in the next 2 weeks. I don't see how it's not going to happen. Everything's in place. They're ignoring the elephants in the room. How much it costs to create robots, how much it costs to create AI, how much it costs to create data centers, and how much electricity is going to be sucked up and water is going to be destroyed along with toxic chemicals in your ground, which now means you're going to consume it if you grow anything. I mean, this has so many bad connotations for long term disruption in the American market. It's insanity, quite frankly. It's maddening to watch. All right. So, from a capitalist standpoint, I'm having a very hard time watching us give multi-billion-dollar corporations tax cut, tax breaks, government contracts, subsidies. Meanwhile, they're laying people off. That is insane. At kind of the two bedrooms, 2.5, 1,300 square feet, and with ocean view around the marina, start at around 430K. We put 20% down, the rest on monthly payments. You got 48, 4 years. Cool. So you've already pulled the trigger on 86K down. Actually, people are going to ask. I might as well just do it. This is, oh, wait. Yeah. It's 86K down. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about no credit check, no qualifying, no barriers to entry. So he has to put 20%. So is this going to be a 2060 plan? What the? Okay. But anyhow, he's putting 86,000 down. And then he pays, I'll, 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 I'll say it's a 40% plan. It don't really matter. 40% plan. So he pays 40%. Wait, 230. What is that? 430K. Man, you could have bought a lot for 430K. I'm just saying, 430 times 40%, 172,000 divided by we'll call it 40. I'll just round up. Probably somewhere there. So you're doing $4,300 a month or more. Okay. Once again, he put in the work, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, don't get it twisted. He put in the work. He's been investing in the stock market, had a 401k, worked at two different retirement plans, has real estate already that he's already renting out. So therefore, he has disposable income to do this. It meets his criteria. Now, the question is, how much do you think you're going to be getting monthly at that location for a 1,300 square foot condo at 430K? It's going to be a very, very interesting scenario when 2029 comes around. I put in the chat room several ways that you can download software. And if you don't want to be in the stock market, so be it. You better learn some other way to make money while you're sleeping. All right. That's all I can tell you. Better do something. Okay, here we go. Okay, he's got now. I figured 40%, but he's saying it's a 30%, which is still going to be hefty, but nonetheless, 430. What's the contract say? What's the contract say about price increase? 430 times 30%. And wait, 3 years is 36. So I'll go 40. Yeah. 129K divided by 40. I'll still go 40 payments. 3,225. That's over 1G less, which that's significant. All right. Now, okay. Well, congratulations, man. Wait, are you not going to tell us the name? What's happening? You're not going to tell us the name of this project? By the way, ladies and gentlemen, let me get into some recall situations. I'm going to put this out here. Chips Ahoy. It's a recall from December 2025. Mondelez Global LLC. First recall is Chips Ahoy Baked Bites Brookies. The recall was issued for mixing process error. So there goes another recall that you have to worry about your health if you're eating that garbage stuff, Chips Ahoy cookies, which you should not be eating anyhow. So once again, me and the wife, we're saved. We don't need Chips Ahoy cookies. We're saved. All right. Can't happen. Costco just recalled a popular bakery item due to a dangerous allergen, and it's the mini vignettes. It contains tree nuts on the label. And these were in California, Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Louisiana, Michigan, Missouri, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, and Washington. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Whoa. The item number begins with 1181272. Again, this is the mini vignettes 1181272. And once again, as you guys know, I can't leave you hanging, right? I'm going to put it in the chat room so you guys can go look it up yourself in case you partake in this garbage food. I got to call it like I tell you. I got to tell you, it's garbage. You shouldn't be eating this stuff in the first place. All right. You got to watch your food supplies. We've talked about this several times. All right. This ain't going to help you with your credit, but you better figure out something. So you got the playground. You got the play, right? You go to findhelp.org, right? Findhelp.org. Put in your zip code, see where you can get many different places of help. Then you hit up Tracy, Tracy dot Sharpe, Sharpe, at moneyladder.com. You send her an email, let her know you're from SSN Nation. Then you tell her I need to restructure my debt, just like a corporation. That's it. And then she'll do the magic. All right. Let her do this. She loves helping people. You know, she's part of the fam. So don't worry. She's all good with this. She's been doing it for a while. Now, that's for starters. Next thing you need, once you get your credit score into, well, let's just say you should sign up for Credit Karma, and that'll be good enough, probably. Now, what you're looking for, if you do have good credit or bad credit, you're looking for 0% interest for 24 months. That's what you're looking for right now. Or 0% interest for 12 months or 15 months or 21 months. You're looking at 0% interest for as long out as you can get. And they do recommendations on Credit Karma. So that's one place you can go, right? So they'll tell you your odds of being accepted and this, that, and the other. So therefore, if you can get it, then you can move over your existing debt that you're paying 25, 35, or 40% on that you can never pay off. And now nearly 100% of it's going towards your balance, not going towards your principal and balance. It's going directly towards your principal. That will free up instantly available funds. Just for starters. See, there's always a plan if you have a plan. This is very simple. This isn't even very hard. Anybody can do this. Even if you didn't have Tracy handling your debt restructuring or solutions, then you still have a situation where you can get 0% for 9 months, 0% for 12, 15, 20, 24. But you need to transfer over, and you don't need that credit that's been freed up. You don't need to use that no more. All right. That's the point. You just make your monthly payment. If you weren't able to move over all of it, you just make your monthly payment. But at least you got a portion of that at 0% for years, hopefully. Hopefully you get to 24 months. Hopefully you get to, even if it's a year, that helps you out greatly. All right. That frees up available funds. So that's what you need to do. And by the way, think of it another way. If you actually had a card that had, like, let's just use 18 months. and you pay down your principal, right? You free up some more of that principal on the 0% card. You can transfer the other one that you haven't been using over there to reduce that even further. And at least you're paying hardly 0%. I always say almost, because sometimes there's an annual fee. So don't choose the one that has annual fees. All right. Just saying. But the point is, you want to get close to 100% of your amount you're paying goes towards your balance principal. All right. That's how we do it. That's how you can do it. That's a solution that everybody can get around with right now, unless, of course, your score is like under 400. That'd be almost impossible, I would think. All right, let's go. He's saying, I haven't signed the contract yet. The project is coming out in the next couple of months. Guess what? They're coming up with a project called Lamborghini like a car. It sounds upscale. Hey, that's why you do a Lamborghini, Porsche, Aston, Martin. All the guys now have the car condos in Miami, right? And around the world. They're all doing the same thing using the upscale luxury name, which is very smart, because that is exactly what it is. The people that's going to spend 430K, they're the ones that you're trying to attract. So therefore, why wouldn't you put that name? Mercedes building, right? Aston Martin building, BMW building. I mean, now Lambo. Okay. Lamborghini building. I don't, there might even be one. I've never even heard of one yet. But I mean, there's every other car manufacturer has a building. Well, the high end cars, that is. They all have one in Miami, and maybe even more than one. But the point is, they're all over the place, all over the world. They're doing this. So I can't blame them at all. You have a customer base of hundreds of thousands of people who's buying 200, 300, $400,000 cars. And now they can buy a condo for 430, which is the one car. These guys could easily, who's ever buying a 400, 500, 600,000 limited edition car, they can easily buy more than one. All right. So now somebody says, hey, how about this Capcana Lambo building? We're going to make it special with, the insignias, hopefully, and all that. And then people go, oh, hell yeah, man. Let me go put down 400 on this, man. I'm part of the fam. I got the watch. I got the flag. I got some other swag that they gave me, right? That's what people are thinking. That's how it works. Luxury matters. Upscale luxury. Now, remember, let's get back to this, because now, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about tonight, why credit? You need it. You're not going to be able to sustain yourself without it. Just think about something. Let me ask you guys something. Here's the point. Let's talk, right? Let's talk. Why is it that people are billionaires and millionaires? Why do they still use credit? Why? So you shouldn't? You should do the Dave Ramsey program, right? Okay, fine. But I'm asking for people that pay tax cut tax breaks money. I'm paying for the taxpayers who are giving subsidies. I'm asking you, why do they get free money if they got money? How come they're not using their own money? Why are they getting loans? I'm just asking. So again, they're building empires while you're sitting here buying liabilities. Turn it around. All right. That's why you don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. You have to figure out how to reduce your debt. Once you can figure that out, and there's ways you can do it, like we're giving you tonight, and I give you every live stream. Now, all of a sudden, you can say, oh, wait a minute, I can free up 100 here, 50 there. I can put in maybe 200 to here. It adds up very quickly. If you can do it for a year or two, all of a sudden, and you made the right investment, all of a sudden, you're thinking, wait a minute, I've got a few G's that I can use to actually make an investment into something or keep it going. Because a lot of people might be thinking gold, silver, precious metals might be a thing to do. I'm not saying not. I'm just saying just a little. I'm not a big fan of trying to buy stacks of that stuff, but a little help, because when it runs up, you can sell a few pieces. You can make investments from there, and vice versa. Some people do stock market trading. The money they get from that, they buy gold and silver. There's a persons that do that. Some people do all kind of different investments from one to another. The profits they get, they invest it into another vehicle. So you should be thinking of the same thing. So anytime you can free it up, but your credit's going to matter in about, oh, 9 months. 9 months, December 31st, 2026, is going to matter even more. More. It doesn't matter so much right now, but it's going to matter a hell of a lot later when jobs are not going to be available. And now people are going to default, and now they can't even get credit. You want to be ahead of the game. If you lose your job and you have credit, you'd better have credit. All right. And we want you to reduce your credit debt. All right. Free up whatever you can free up because the day will come. The roosters are going to come home to roost. And we want you to be able to make sure that you're going to be able to say, well, if my bank account's stolen, if my brokerage account's stolen, whatever's going to happen, you want to be able to say, well, they still got credit. Yeah, damn right. They're still going to have credit, ladies and gentlemen, because that's the only way it's going to work. And that's what it's been working for off of. It's been working off of credit because you know what you're holding right now when you have a cash on you? A dollar bill is a debt note. Credit that your great great grandkids owe from $40 trillion worth of deficits. That is a debt note. Wake up. All right. Now, did I give you guys the link to the recalls? Let me make sure because I need you guys to get on this credit game ASAP. Free it up one way or another. Get your help. Get yourself some help from findhelp.org that you could be paying right now for something. And due to nonprofits having caregiving or child care or job training or all these things, medical and all this, you could actually free up some money that you don't even know about. They could actually help you subsidize you in some sort of way. Just saying, it's all there, courtesy of Matthew Lesko. Late night, the guy that always said grants. That's right. Go check him out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. No billionaires, a high million. Listen to this guy again. Okay, MDA, man, stop it, man. You can Google right now. Stop. You know good and well these guys. Okay, BlackRock. Okay, the banks. All these guys don't do loans. Is that what you're trying to tell me right now? All these guys, Elon Musk borrows against his stock. What are you talking about? He does. I don't understand. I don't even know where you get this. Really, I really don't. I seriously don't know where you get this. You really think they're sitting out here using their own money? Since when? I really don't know where you're getting this, man. Seriously, seriously. Larry Ellison and his son is sitting over here trying to buy Warner Brothers. They're structuring a loan. When people are buying basketball, football, baseball teams, they're structuring a loan. I don't know what you're talking about right now. I don't even know where you get this. I mean, this is. I mean, look. How is Ellis? Let me go do this. Buying. What is that? WB Discovery. I mean, and they don't even have enough, so they had to go back to the drawing board and figure out what they're going to do. I mean, this is crazy. Yeah, he just went up to $31 per share. Man, they wanna be able to, these guys that wanna, ban books and don't care about pedophiles and all that. These guys are trying to take over all type of airways. Um, um, argue, yeah, he's trying to get an airtight financial structure. Yeah, it includes CNN, HBO, and a movie studio. So now you can make movies. Now you have a news outlet, and now you have a streaming service. Brilliant. And then you can make up whatever stories you want to make up. Um, uh, yeah. Okay, that's just one example. But I'm trying to think. I mean, like, what are we talking about? I mean, I don't understand what you mean. All these guys are carrying debt. I mean, they're not using their own money. That's high risk. Because even if they can't do it, then they can always come to the table and tell these guys to redo the deal. I'm trying to find the actual deal. I don't even know what their deal is, quite frankly, anymore. They've come up with several different offers, and the Ellisons were falling short. So they had to do something else, but I can't find out what they're doing right now. Uh, yeah, I'm trying to find it, but of course, yeah, family, Redbird Capital, sovereign wealth funds of three Middle Eastern countries. Good God, man! See, Paramount's offer includes financial backing from Ellison family, Redbird Capital, the sovereign wealth funds of three Middle Eastern countries. Yeah, that's an IOU. That's crazy. Um, $108 billion. Damn, that's a lot. Um, uh, let's. Who else is a high profile? Musk. Um, Musk has borrowed how much against Tesla? I don't think he can borrow anymore, quite frankly. 236 million shares. That's 82 billion. And sometimes peaking at 90 billion. But those are stocks, and once again, those are derivatives. So, but he ain't taking money out of his pocket just to buy, right? No, he ain't gonna do that. That doesn't make any sense. He's not gonna pay. He ain't gonna pay 80, 90. Even though what is he? 800. You know what's funny? He said something earlier. He said he doesn't even have 10% of his money or something, which is crazy. Okay, one third of Musk Tesla shares tied up in margin loans. There you go. All I know is the dude's supposedly worth like 800 million. And he said something like I said the other day, talking about he doesn't even have 10% of it or something. I don't even know what he was saying because I didn't read it because, he's almost dead to me at this point. But I do know he said something about it. But again, I don't know where you get this, man. You've said that several times. That's not a thing. All these guys get loans. Grant Cardone out here getting loans on his properties. I mean, all these billionaire dudes have loans. There may only be one or two that does not. Yes, wealthy folks build real estate empires and then roll them into different trusts. They also leverage 1031s left and right. Can't blame them. We need to play the same game. Yeah. Yeah, but they're not even caring about the 1031. Well, they do, but not that much. That's margin. You don't get credit check with margin. It's still you have to have assets. That is your credit check because you have assets against your holdings. Does it matter? It's still a loan. Why wouldn't he just pay money? He doesn't need the margin loan is what I'm saying. So it's still a loan. He has to pay it back. It's not like free money. It's a loan. So why didn't he just use his own money then? Is the point. Just like the Ellisons, why aren't they using their own money? Same thing. Although I don't know if they have 108 billion liquid. I would doubt that, but that would be it'd be foolish. It'd be foolish. Let's just put it this way: somebody else holding the bag is much better, and that's why America is going to have a meltdown ultimately because these monies are not going to be paid. So let's go another route. Since we're talking about Elon, for instance, on margin, if his stock price goes down, right? Okay, there's a meltdown. Stock price goes down. They call him up and say, "Hey, I need you to add more. funds or something else to get the percentage right, whether it's more stock or whatever. All right. He's going to add more stock. He still gets to keep his money. So if something goes down with the stock shares, he still keeps his money. The shares he don't really care about because he never owned it. It's not cash. It doesn't matter. The other people are holding the bag. So he'd rather just give the paper away. He's already got his cash wherever he wants it. So again, it's still a loan. How much you slice it? They're not paying cash for Jack. So my question is, there you do consider cash different than margin. Okay. So you have a house. What you're trying I don't even want to get into this because this is silliness to me. If you own a house, what is that? Is that your house is pledged as collateral for your loan? So you're not saying, what are you going to say to me now? It's just a what, a loan? I mean, I don't understand. That's You didn't pay cash for it. It's still a loan. I don't understand. It's the same thing. The house is stock. The loan they're giving you for the actual value of the home. Same thing. No difference because you want to call it margin. Still a loan. Still used as money. Still didn't pay anything cash. For Walt Disney and J.C. Penney, they use life insurance. Stop. Stop. Don't give me history of BS. First of all, life insurance that Walt Disney had is not the life insurance that you're going to have. Their life insurance policies back then were a different animal. You're not going to find that stuff that they used. And that's why you don't hear any of the wealthy guys right now talking about, I use life insurance in 2020 or 2000 to buy a damn thing. This is not America 1940. This is not America 1925. All right. There is no, in fact, you know what? Why don't I just do this before I start getting upset from the wealthy guys? All right, let's go this route. Let me go this route. I'll even do this. I'll even go with Google because let's just I'll hit up Google and ask: is there any wealthy person in? I'll do USA in USA that has used life insurance uh, to in last 50. I'll go 50 years. How about that? Because that's like 1970s, right? That's when Walt Disney was doing his stuff. There it is. Walt Disney, Ray Kroc, 1950s, 1960s, these strategies. Yeah, exactly. So, like I was saying, yeah, that's 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 the guys. Let me see. Hold on. Nope. 1980, we have the Pampered Chef, $3,000 policy loan against her life insurance. That's how much she started her business for. Now, okay, fine. Foster Farms in 1939. That's not going to work. The Great Depression, J.C. Penney's. Okay, that ain't going to work. Yeah, it doesn't appear like that's a thing. That's not a thing, man. That was a thing, like I said, back in, yeah, that's not a thing. It's not necessary right now. Nobody's going to do that. Not necessary. Not necessary. Because that's basically going in on that uh, infinite banking. It's well, actually, I shouldn't even say that because infinite banking wasn't a thing either. But again, what they did, you're not doing now. Let's just put it that way. Not going to happen. You can't do a cash advance, or you can't get your cash value up fast enough as you get older. And remember, first of all, you know how old these guys were? Seriously. They weren't no 25 years old or nothing. Because you're going to have to build up cash advance in order to borrow against your insurance policies or cash them out like they used to be able to do, which you can't do now. So, again, I don't really care about these old. This is the MDA0214 reminds me of my professors when they'd be talking. And I'd be like, man, why are you talking to me about 50-year-old stuff and 60-year-old stuff? I'm like, that's not what they're doing right now. I said, show me right now. What did he? I'm like, why are you talking to me about IBM? I was like, they're just give them their L and let's move on, shall we? Sure, they were great. 1960s, 1970s. Yeah, come on now. Don't come talking to me about them. They're irrelevant right now. We got Intels, we got Hewlett Packard, we got HP. Them dudes, okay, they're cool, but come on, man. That ThinkPad and all that, all right, cool, but man, that stuff's about to be blown out the water. Don't be talking to me about that crap. My professor's like, man, just shut up and dribble. I'm like, come on, man. You guys talking silly up in here. All right. Anyhow, let's go. They use assets as collect. That's not asset. Oh, okay. 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 So you're going to say stocks are an asset. Then you're going to say they're going to get margin loans and use it as collateral. There is no difference than when you buy a house. A house you're using as collateral. And then when the house goes up in value and people get a HELOC loan, what's the difference? If the house value goes down, what happens? If you already didn't get your HELOC, then that's going to be taken away, obviously. And if you do have a HELOC, good luck on that being paid because a lot of people in 2008 and 9 walked away. They just said, yeah, I'm keeping I'm losing the house, but I can go rent a place and I'm keeping the car, the boats, and everything that I bought the HELOC for. The RV, it's already paid off. So I'll just keep that. You can keep the house. I still make money. I'll just go get another house. So that's why the crisis was devastating. And that's why banks were effed up, holding the bag. So again, but anyhow, the point is, they're a cat. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday Night Live Stream. They use assets as collateral, get access to very low interest credit loans. I like what he's saying. I love that. You're right. You're absolutely correct. Because unlike ordinary citizens, they get special treatment. That's why the Federal Reserve rate matters to them. It doesn't matter to us because unless you're them, you don't get in-house loans at interest-only rates for 10 to 15 years. But if you did, since we can't do that, we have to reverse engineer. We need you to get your score higher so then you can get 0% for at least 2 years. And like I said, I'm expecting in about 6 months, 3 years, because that will go a long way on getting your debt in order, plus being able to buy assets because you got to make a whole bunch of money. Do you guys hear the latest thing? $110,000 is what's needed on average just to live in America right now. Woo, it's getting up there. But yes, assets as collateral is correct, just like when you buy a house. That's not an asset, but nonetheless, it's used as collateral for you to get a loan. Same thing, no difference. But if you have stock, like MDA0214 says, you have enough of it, you can borrow against it, like all the billionaires do. But the point is, it's still collateral against the value of something. You know what else? If somebody had a stack of gold and silver, you can get loans against that, right? How many of you remember if you have a car which is a liability. You used to be able to go down and get title car loans. Just saying. But I don't consider none of that anything but a loan because it still has to be paid back. Okay. My point is, you don't need credit. You can do the same thing with assets. Oh, that's your okay. I like that. That's the point. That's the point we're both trying to make, I guess. That's why you need the assets, quite frankly. But you need the assets that make money. And that's where things kind of get crazy because when you do these loans, see, I'll use the Ellison thing. Apparently, they're going to be getting loans to go along with this purchasing. So this is why a lot of these big time corporations get into trouble because their revenue goes down. Now they can't pay back those $10 billion loans or 20 or 50. So that's where the problem comes in. Then they have to sell. And putting up all that leverage is scary work, especially if you're going to have a volatile economy like we have in America. So that's why you guys need to get your stuff in order because you want to be able to have credit at your disposal. So if it's personal, I don't really care. If it's collateralized, I don't really care. The point is, nobody's going to care because whether it's collateralized or it's a loan against nothing, the risk of not paying it or not being able to pay it back lands in the court of the person that gave you the loan. It doesn't. So if you end up having to owe $1 million in loans and you default, the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to call up and say, hey, how much can you pay? We'll give you some deal for a year. If you just pay this minimum amount for a year, then we'll reinstate it because then that will show and maybe you'll come back because we don't want to lose all this money. That's what the big boys do. Just like when Elon Musk, I got to pick on him today. Elon Musk owned, rented in San Francisco. So his rent, well, it's probably high, right? It's San Francisco. It's a major city. So what he does is he did this in several in Texas as well, in San Francisco. He doesn't pay. By not paying the owner, the landlord, the money, the landlord goes, well, I'll foreclose, not foreclose, but what do? We do go down to the courthouse eviction. They're doing second thoughts on the eviction because if they evict him, they know they're going to court. They know that it might take 6 months to a year or more because he's going to fight it, of course, because he doesn't have to pay tens of thousands of dollars per month. So it's worth it to him to pay the lawyers 10 G's a month to save 20. So he knows eventually either they're going to give up or they're going to come to a resolution and go, okay, man, hold on. You can just give us half. That's what happens. Same scenarios, but I'm just saying. So, I mean, there's all kind of things these guys get away with that you would not be ordinary citizens can't get away with. It's that simple. So once you realize you want to put yourself in the same positions to where they have to come talk to you, right? That's the bottom line. It does not really matter. The house, they're not going to come talk to you. Let's just put it that way, because they'd rather take that because it's usually up in value more than what you owe until it's not, until 2008, 9, and 10 rolls around, which is going to happen again. But when we get there, we get there. But the point is, I'm waiting for that to happen over the next 3 years. But we'll see. All right, everybody. Let's get back to the situation. This is very spirited conversation. I love it. I love it. I love it. You guys know I love this stuff. So let's get back to it. After you get your credit in order, you do not buy liabilities, only assets. Or while you're getting your credit in order, you buy assets, not liabilities. Now, some people a lot of people that do investments, they go, oh, unless you have a certain situation set up, you shouldn't, if you have a lot of debt, you shouldn't be trying to invest. And I'm sitting there like, my point of view is different. I'm sitting there going, okay, but if a person frees up, let's just use minimals. If a person frees up $100 per month and you're saying, well, use that $100 to pay down more debt on 25, 30, 40% interest, and 40 is a bit high, but let's just say 23% interest, that's not going to do much at all. But if all of a sudden you start doing 100, 100, 100, 100, being able to put it into something that gives you a return, now all of a sudden, think about it, JEPQ, JEPI holders, 8% to 10%. 1 year, you already have that 100 that you would have been paying for the debt collector. That's freed up. You still have your principal. Just saying, you start thinking in that process, all of a sudden you have more money and you're paying off some of this debt that you didn't have to work for. So that's the way I look at it when these guys start talking to me about, hey, Eric, dude, I'm like, hey, man, we're not talking about millionaires. We're talking about ordinary citizens who are 8 out of 10 are living paycheck to paycheck. So they don't have anything to free up right now. So if they can free up something, why are you going to tell them to dump it into something that they can never pay off? Because they're going to have to go back to work for that same thing and overtime too. So if I can in 12 months all of a sudden have that same 100 going out, paying for my bill, that and still have the 12, let's say, we're doing good. And if we get stock appreciation, okay, now it's 13, but doesn't really matter that much. It just means, okay, there's some appreciation, good. But at least we have money going towards paying down the debt that you didn't have to work for. Let's see, what's the paychecks? Hold on a second, I don't even know. The average wage in America, it can't be that much. Monthly wage in America. Let's go see. I don't even know right now. Is it like 2,500? Okay. Monthly wages. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, why aren't they just telling me? Average monthly wage in America. Here's what it says. Gross average monthly wages in the United States averaged $4,119 at current exchange rates from 1990 to 2024, reaching an all-time high of 6,911 at current exchange rates in 2024. And a record low. What does that mean? I didn't ask. That's crazy. Okay. Average annual pay as of February 2026 is $48.80 a month. That is the equivalent of $1,126 a week. And unfortunately, it takes 2 weeks to pay rent in a condo. And quite frankly, I don't know who's buying a house for 58 grand, because you can't afford the average. 429,000 means you have to make over $100,000 a year. So you can't buy a house. That works out to be $28 an hour. So that's the average. If there's a workforce of 150 million people, do you guys understand that means 75 million people make above that and 75 million people make below that, would be the average. There's 350 million plus people that live here in the US, in America, and a certain percentage of that is children under 18, some of them in the workforce. But there's no way $28 is an average. You can't live anywhere in a one bedroom in America for $28 an hour. And now I have to ask the question of, does this include taxes? Because if this doesn't include taxes, then the effective rate is going to be roughly $21 an hour. So let me do it this way. This is dire, quite frankly. Now that I got 2026 numbers, this is more dire than I anticipated. Okay. Um, Google's not giving me this info. This is not even cool. Okay. There's something here at ZipRecruiter, but this is not Google. The average hourly pay for an after-tax job in the U.S. is $13.31. Yikes! That's by ZipRecruiter. Jesus, that would make things even worse. And they say the hourly salary range is $5.29 to $25.48. That's February 2026 numbers after tax salary from ZipRecruiter. Do you guys know what country you live in? So you can see the best case scenario is 75. The reason I use 75 million is because there's really on any given day 185 million Americans have a job. And right now I don't think 185 have a job because the farmers, the transportation companies, the corporations are laying off millions of people. It was 1 million per month, February, March through January of this year. So that's 12 million people right there. So I know there's not 185 million of Americans at a job. So you guys can start doing the math. That's why I went to 150. Because it used to be 175 to 185. So I'm thinking it's more like 150 to probably 160 million. Best case scenario. And even then, they're not livable wages, so it doesn't really matter. So that's where I get my 75-75 split. So this is dire. You have half of your country not even livable wage jobs because they're not even making even the $26 an hour job. This is detrimental to America right now. Detrimental. All right, let's go. Depends on what they're buying. Even Robert Kiyosaki said that they buy all liability cars, jets, cash. He even say it's dumb to use debt for cars. He only used debt for investments. Exactly. He's exactly right. That's what I'm saying. You use debt for investments. Exactly. He's exactly right with that. Although the thing is, every rich person buys cars, jewelry, whatever, right? So, but ordinary citizens, that's where you have to cut the line. You're completely wrong. You're obviously never heard of corporate-owned life insurance, bank-owned life insurance, or private placement life insurance. So you're going to go with this life insurance. What? You're going to go with, okay. You want to go with corporate owned. So we're going to go with corporations or we're going to go with people? I thought we were talking about people. And quite frankly, I don't know. Okay, I won't. Life insurance policy purchased by a company on the lives of employees, typically key executives, where the employer pays the premiums, owns the policy, and receives tax death benefits. So it acts as a financial tool to protect against the loss of key personnel. Okay, that sounds reasonable. So that's the first one. Let's go with no, that's bank owned life insurance. No, never. Again, never had any reasons, but let's see what this is. Bank owned is a tax advantage life insurance policy purchased by banks on key employees or directors. This looks like the corporate one. The bank owns the policy, pay premiums, receive tax free death benefits. Nice. It offers tax deferred cash value growth acting as a yield long term asset. Nice. Nice. Gotta love it. Dang. Now I have to think about all these corporate executives who died, got killed. Now I'm thinking, oh my God, there's a reason why. Hold on a second. Hold on. Holy smokes. Now I'm thinking now there's some reason these corporations are killing their executive staff. Okay. Private life insurance, secure your family's financial premiums averaging around $26 a month. It offers tax-free death benefits for expenses, income replacement, or debt payoff. Policies may require medical exams and offer higher coverage limits than employer plans. $26 a month. Interesting. Costs vary based on age, of course, and health, of course, like normal. 500,000 in coverage potentially ranges from 20 to 87 a month. Yeah, 20 is going to be if you're 20. 87 will be if you're probably 40. Often requires a medical exam. Well, then that's a whole nother ball game. I'm not even going to get into the medical situations. Yeah, okay. Great. The top two are a corporate scenario over there losing their employees, which, nah, man, you have a reason to kill your employees. That's interesting. The private life insurance looks more like regular insurance. Um, but it gives some sort of other things, customizations, higher coverage limits, 2 million plus. Usually involves individual underwriting, health checks. Yeah. Again, I'm not even going to keep going on and on because in the real world, that sounds all nice and lovely until they deny people for their health situations. And as we know, so many people in America have health issues. So again, I'm talking about people. I have two life insurance policies. If some of the wealthiest use it as part of their portfolio, why wouldn't I? I don't know. You can do what the wealthy do. I've always said do what they do, but I don't see any reason. You looked at the definitions, but you didn't look up how they use them in their business. Again, it's a business. It's not an individual. I mean, again, okay. All right. So once again, we're talking about different things. If we're talking about individuals, we're not talking about business. Business is one thing. If they want to have a business, which takes a lot, then they want to get insurance for that business or several insurances, then apparently that's what they're going to do. That doesn't mean anything for the ordinary citizen. They're not having corporations. They're not doing none of that. And if that's a vehicle that they're using, then great. But a person can do the same thing. But again, it's kind of that cash build up value, borrow against it, earn 4.3%. Okay. But again, you're going to be in trouble if you're going to go again. I'll give a perfect example. If I go, this won't happen, but let's just say you had a life insurance policy. Let's say you're earning 4.3% on whatever you're putting in, plus they're taking away what you would pay for your normal insurance, right? As you get older, your insurance goes up. Okay, but it doesn't matter. You whatever you paid, let's just say you paid $1 million in, let's say they have, I'm gonna be generous, $700,000 cash value that you can borrow against. Keyword, borrow against. If you don't pay it back, what happens? If you die, they're going to take it from whatever your policy said, right? Right. So again, I like the convoluted stuff that we're talking about here, but this is ordinary citizens. We're not talking about, yes, there may be millionaires watching, but millionaires are not multimillionaires with spare change to be running around doing all this kind of stuff, unless they have a corporation. And then, unless they really want to do that, when the stock market is giving me money hand over fist every week. I'm just saying. Hey, you know what, MDA0214? You're the one that told me. Remember, the private wealth advisors, 8% must not work. And you said, otherwise, the banks and the wealthy would be doing it. But what if it is working? Well, it is working. But what if it's been working this whole time? Would you change your mind just because they're doing it? See, that's the thing. Just because they're doing it, they're able to do it. Not everybody's able to. In fact, let's let me do it this way. Let me do it this way. Oh, by the way, I already know the numbers, so I don't even need it. By the way, there's 300 and some million Americans in the country. There's less than 3,000 billionaires in all of the world, not just in America, all of the world, less than 3,000. And there is, well, now it moved up. So it has to be somewhere around 70. There's around 70 million millionaires. You know, there's 8 billion people on the planet, right? So this thing about all these rich dudes do whatever, they're not even 1%. Are they 1%? What is that? They're not even like 1% of the population. What are we at? 8.5 billion? Let's go look it up. That's 85 million times 1%. 85 million. They're less than 1% of the population. So my point is, channel's called Stop Struggling Now. All I'm saying is 8.6 billion people are not millionaires or billionaires. All right. Incorrect. Your insurance don't go up. What do you mean your insurance doesn't go up if it's based on life insurance policy? It goes up based on your age. It doesn't sit still. It's not static. If I'm 25 and get a, are you talking about term or something? If you're on, if you have if you're 25 years old and get life insurance, your life insurance does not stay the same until you're 60 or 70 or 50. It goes up. Now, if you're gonna give me some specialty insurance thing, okay, maybe. I'm pretty sure there is. But if it's term, whole life, what are we talking about? There's different in policies. But what do you mean okay? What insurance policy doesn't go up? Maybe I'll go that route. And why would you take out a loan and not pay it back? Why wouldn't you pull it out and buy stocks with the market drop? You don't have to be a billionaire to use their strategies. Whoa, whoa. Why would you take out a loan and not pay it back? Are you serious right now? Don't play with me like this, man. Come on. Don't play with me. Stop. We have a president right now who took out loans for Atlantic City, did not pay them back, and also did not pay the workers and the corporate companies and corporations that he hired to build these casinos. So he bankrupted them and did not pay back the banks, kept all the money, filed bankruptcy. What do you mean? I don't follow your logic here. This is what they do all the time. I don't understand. You know what's, I mean, this whole conversation, this is crazy, man. It's like you're shilling for the rich dudes. This is crazy. First of all, when he didn't pay his loan to the banks, it didn't matter. The banks were holding the bag. He got the money. When he didn't pay the mom and pop businesses that helped build these casinos, they were holding the bag because they used their employees and their resources, and they went down to their banks going, oh, it's this billionaire guy. He's not going to jack us. So we need a loan to go build this stuff because in the end, we're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. See, here's our contract. So when dude didn't pay, they worked for free. The banks gave him money for nothing. He kept the money. They're holding the bag. This is the point I'm trying to make. Exactly. Well, I'm not trying to make the point about screwing people over, but I'm just making a point. Why would you get a loan? What do you mean? What are you talking about? First of all, first of all, okay. His dude's over here talking crazy right now. Okay. Wait. Hold on. He's talking about, okay, whole life insurance. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was asking you. If it's term or whole life insurance, then you have a set number. You're right. So that doesn't matter. Um, but since I'm going to pull it up for the life, let me see. Did I pull up whole life? Yeah, it's a permanent policy. This is true. Okay, it's fixed. Right. You're right. I'm talking about universal and all that, but yeah, it has to be. Otherwise, it would go up. But anyhow, cash covers your life, no expiration date, provided premiums are paid. A portion of your premium goes into an account that builds cash value, which grows at a guaranteed rate, usually around 4%, and can be accessed via loans. Okay. Um, a fixed amount is paid to the beneficiaries upon death. Yeah. Same. All right. Premiums are much higher than term life insurance. True. Okay, fine, whatever. Cash value grows often lower than what could be achieved through other investments, such as the stock market, which is exactly what I was saying. Again, there's no reason to earn 4%, 4.3%. But I will say this, there is something to be said about insurance in itself. There's something to be said because you could get a policy and make investments at the same time or both. But again, I don't personally take any value in a 4% increase when inflation is higher than that. So it's only good for borrowing as far as I'm concerned. But then again, you still have to pay for your premium and that. So it's all good. Yeah, we already talked about this whole life and term. Yeah, I get it. Those we don't have to worry about. Those are fixed. Let's see. 100,000 policy can range from approximately $87 to over $228 per month, depending heavily on factors like age, health, and insurance. Yeah, the older you get and you decide to get term or whole life rather, yeah, it's gonna be higher. But nonetheless, yeah, 1 million is probably gonna be like 2 G's a month. I wouldn't at once you get older. Um, yeah, term life is less always. That's cheap. But I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. All right. Whole life is a scam. Uh-oh, somebody's sitting there only in very specific situations. Doesn't make sense. The 3-6, welcome to the SSN Nation. Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. We got into the insurance biz. See, this guy has a similar point of view that I do. Only because when you start breaking it down, it's always been this thing with me. It's always been like, okay, so how much I'm investing is this? This is what the return is. If you start telling me, Eric, you're going to live, which in my case, you're 25, 35, 45, 55. I gave you guys this much. But if I'd have been putting that stuff in here, it outweighs what I would be getting back anyhow. It was just a mathematical equation for me. So, but I agree again, it's just that I don't this thing about using it to do anything other than get money for loans or protecting your family. You have to it's like you're protecting your family and potentially assets as well. But yeah, I don't see, I agree with this statement right here. Okay. I'm not talking about anyone else. I'm talking about you individually. If you feel comfortable going to a bank and paying them back, why wouldn't you pay back something that can be passed down? Yeah, but you're I understand what your mindset is and what you're saying, but people get loans and don't pay them back all the time. And I'm talking about the wealthy guys. I'm talking about they do this on purpose because ultimately they don't pay it back. They'll actually miss payments just so they can get the creditors to come to the table and renegotiate because they gave them $10 billion, $5 billion, $100 million, $20 million, $10 million. That's the point. That's how they play. So all this stuff about I mean, it's so sickening. Like I said, what the top 10% get away with regard to our financial structure, that ordinary citizens would have lost everything. Meanwhile, they get to keep everything and get bailout and special treatments with or without assets. By the way, speaking of that, MDA, check out Deutsche Bank and their loans that they did again for our president. Why don't you go check that out? How about the money laundering through Russia? I'm just saying. Deutsche Bank couldn't even release the documents on how come they gave loans for certain things when you could easily go see the appraised values. It was based on fictional appraised values, just like his New York cases, the numbers that he said his properties were worth, he was allowed to tell them it's worth X amount of dollars. And they said, okay, here's a loan. He added extra square footage to his own personal home to get a higher loan value. Okay, here you go. You wouldn't have been able to do that. I wouldn't be able to do that. Nobody watching this would be able to do that. There's no way. When it's in the building codes, requirements, downtown, when the place is built from the building plan says, oh, it's X amount of square foot. They couldn't even look at that. They just go, oh, so what if he says it's 100,000 square feet? Oh man, that must be valued at billions of dollars. Here's some money. How you like that for collateral? Come on, man. Why get a loan? He's a billionaire because he doesn't have to pay it back, right? Or they're going to come to the table and say, oh man, just give us half or whatever they determine. Or don't worry, I'll get some money from the Saudi Arabians. I got to have a little fun with this. But I mean, that's fun. That's what he did. I mean, we have a president that is a something. I don't millionaire, billionaire, whatever he is. Everything you're saying, he actually did. He's got loans. He ripped people off, got loans, ripped people off, get loans. I mean, why does he get loans if he has money? Because he knows he doesn't have to pay them back unless he wants to. Some he pays back. A lot of them he pays back because he leverages. He always leverages, right? And so therefore he's able to get some other, like Jared Kushner getting $2 billion from the Saudi Arabia, or no, was it Qatar? Qatar, was it, for some sort of hedge fund or whatever fund he's doing, and he's never ran a hedge fund or anything in his life? $2 billion. That's not accounted for, except he supposedly, allegedly has this hedge fund or whatever it is. And guess who's partners in it? Just saying. All right. Just saying. Why wouldn't you just get term until you can be self-insured? The 3-6, the 3-6, the 3-6. Welcome to the SSN Nation once again, because this is exactly what it turns into be. Term life, and get your 10 to 20% annually, because term is cheaper. That's where it goes, quite frankly. But term runs out, and that's where the other side of the coin is as well. I think life insurance and retirement should be separate entities. Exactly. I agree. I agree with 3-6. Several reasons. Term is expense and pays out less than 2%. Okay. Since we're going to do term, let's see. I like this. How many, let's go how many millionaires and billionaires? Let's go with this. There's use term life insurance. Why don't I just add that to build wealth? Let's go and see if that's even a thing. Okay. Oh, here we go. Millionaires and billionaires do not use term life insurance to build wealth, as MDA 0214. Instead, they heavily utilize permanent, whole, again, I disagree with universal, but okay, whole or universal life insurance as a tax advantage asset class for wealth preservation, liquidity, and intergenerational transfer. Term life is used by the wealthy only for temporary protection, not wealth accumulation. Interesting that they say not wealth. You know what? I find this very interesting, because 3-6 and MDA is saying similar things in my book, but utilizing different platforms. That's what it's like. So I am like 3-6. I say, okay, do the short term. It costs not that even that much to me. And then this universal life thing, I'm like, I don't know. Whole, I can get with whole partially as well. But the thing is, it still works out the same, in my opinion. I almost worked for a company, which would have been very interesting, when I was 19 years old. This guy says, Eric, you need to work in this life insurance, financial planning, yada, yada. He goes, man, you'd be good at this. I was only 19. I was in Atlanta, Georgia. And there was some ad that came out, and I was like, you know what? I want to go learn about this. I don't really want to do this. I got some other plans. So I went to go talk with the guy, and all of a sudden we started talking business. And he's like, wait a minute. He goes, wait, you're going back to school? I said, yeah, man, I need a diploma, I need some paperwork on the wall, stacks of it. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I got to be the best at something. I got to have either something where, I got one degree, then I need another one, and maybe like computers, because that's up and coming. Maybe I need something else. And he's just like, nah, you don't need none of that. You need to hang with us. We see you got skills. I was like, come on, man. I said, okay, so how long is this going to take me? He starts this, well, you got to do that life insurance because that's what wealthy people use. I'm like, okay, how long does this take? Oh, you got to go to these classes. It's going to take you about 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year. I said, hold on. You want me to hold off doing my thing to do this thing? How much you going to pay me? I'm like, what are you talking about right now? He says, well, you got to do this, got to do that. I said, hold on. This sounds like you didn't answer how much. You didn't come out and say like 100 G's a month. I mean, a year. I mean, what are you talking about right now? He says, well, we got to talk about that if you want to. I said, let's talk. He says, well, I think with your skill set and everything, I think we can do like 50 G's or something like this. I said, 50 G's to put off my dreams, my stuff that I want to do. I'm not sold. he's like, he's like, don't you understand what I'm giving you? I'm like, no, man. No, well, here's what it sounds like you're giving me to me. I'm gonna work for you, bring in customers for you. You still gonna be my boss. 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, how long? He's like, I'm not retiring anytime soon. I said, yeah, and it looks like you're only like in your 50s. So that means I got to wait around like 10, 20 years. And even then, I don't know if I'm going to be that good at this, even though it probably will be, but I got goals and dreams. I got another lifetime. No, sorry. Dude was like in shock. He's like, nah, man, you can't go back to school. You can't do that. You can't go back to college. I said, man, nah, I don't think so. Plus, I can't live in the South, man. I can't live in the South. I got problems. I got problems. I can't have I can't have lame mediocre white dudes calling me names, acting like they're all tough guys and acting like they're gonna do something to me because I'm not that guy. I said I'm from Cali. I'm not from here. Dudes coming to me acting funny. That means we got to squash it right away. We don't play around chit chatting. I said I don't think it's best that I came out here and do this stuff, man. I don't think so. He's like, if you ever change your mind, dead. The mic went dead. The mic went dead. I went on another change. Divine Transit. Nice to see you once again. Johnny B in the house. We got a lovely conversation tonight. I was only going to be on an hour talking about a little credit. Now we got into life insurance and assets and passing down. Whole life is an asset we pass down. This is true. So is universal. It can also work as a buffer. If I'm 70 and retiring, the market drops 60%. I don't have to pull from the stocks. I can pull from my policy. Good points. That's why it works. I mean, there's some reason a vehicle for insurance. I mean, don't get it twisted, ladies and gentlemen. Once you get a little more money that you can use, you want to keep stacking to where you get yourself into a situation where you're flexible. Because he just explained it right now. If something happens in one area, you still have revenues, monies that you can tap into, and still money still coming in. And so you'll be fine. And that's the whole point about building wealth, right? You want to keep building. You don't want to let stay stagnant. You want to always try to keep doing it, right? So I like it. I like it. Very good conversation this evening. I'm going to wrap it up 1 hour and 40 minutes because this is going to be on podcast because this is awesome. Also, it's nothing on a glorified tax-free high yield savings. This is true. So it gives me liquidity and flexibility. Yes, I use margin. So if the market dropped, I have cash stash that isn't tied to the market. Exactly. 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 You're right about all of that. It's an asset and will pay out all the time. There's no limit to how much you can pass down. You can pass down 100 million cash tax free through a life insurance. Yes, that is true. He's exactly right about that. He's right. Um, but if you have $100 million, you'd be, yeah, your tax planning is going to be on point. If you had hundreds or even tens of millions of dollars, your tax planning, even if you had hundreds of thousands of dollars, your tax planning should be on point. All right. At least you should have a plan. You should not be just running amok out here. Whether you're going to have trust, whether you're going to have the insurance policies, whether you're going to have brokerage accounts, you need to figure out how you can transfer that down. And there's several things that go into this because some people, like he's talking about 100 million right here, right? So depending on if you transferred 100 million, gift tax only goes up to a certain amount. So you can't be gifted 100 million. So therefore, you have to have 100 million being able to go into some other vehicle that's going to be tax free. So the insurance policy could, if there's a payout of that much, you could also do, if your bank account, you have beneficiaries, that passes through directly. Insurance policies pass through directly. If you have an irrevocable, well, uh, yeah, you could have a several. You can have a trust, then pour over into an irrevocable upon death. Then you could do it that way. But then again, we're talking about 100 million. So now all of a sudden you turn it into, again, your gift tax, I believe, can only go up to 12 mil. So, or 15, 12, I think it is, but 12. So anything over that, so in order to get tax free, you're going to have in a brokerage account that's in a 401k, accrues tax free. Yeah, 100 million is hard unless you have it in only a limited amount of vehicles, maybe two, without any repercussions for people left behind. If that's the case, why don't more people do it? No, a lot of people have uh, whole life and universal life insurance policies. That's for sure. That's for sure. If you listen to scammers who talk infinite banking run, but find real information on how flexible it is, look up how businesses, look up how billionaires pass down a lot of cash tax free. Yeah. Well, a lot of billionaires use trusts. Just like, again, the president is the perfect example. That's what they do. They keep adding trust, LLC trust. They keep doing this. And that's also why when he came into office, he wanted to increase the gift tax. Because again, there's things that you're going to be able to do. And then you start throwing it, like, let's say, for instance, the president himself, he has the tax guys, he has everything. And he doesn't care about going over the edge. And neither does the guys that work for him, right? They don't care about going to the edge. And these guys have trust. I mean, trust, LLC trust all over the damn place. Every time him and his sons and his daughter do business, they got trust LLCs all over the damn place. And who knows what's in these things and who knows what they're doing. And, I mean, it's insane. But hey, he's one of the people that finagle the financial system along with all the other billionaires. Nobody's different, all the other multimillionaires. So, infinite banking, it kind of works, but again, for ordinary citizens, it just takes too long because you can only put in so much per year. You can't like dump in, like for instance, I can't dump in $1 million into the policy or $2 million just to get my cash value up to a certain number, whether it's 50% or 40% tomorrow. Because everybody would be doing that. If I could dump in 10 million and they go, Eric, 3 million is loanable. Now I'd be like, okay, give me the 3 mil since it'll be a loan. Now we can do the infinite banking, no problem, right? But the infinite banking guys are starting at zeros. So to build up the cash value takes time that's going to be worth anything. Otherwise, you have to have a higher policy. So it's kind of rough, but it's doable. It makes sense. It's it's just not as easy as they say. Okay, at least you don't believe in infinite banking. 3-6. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, yeah. Infinite banking. I talked about it before. It makes sense. It can be done from a average citizen standpoint, but if you have money, it makes zero sense, really. Because, like I said, even from an average standpoint, it kind of makes no sense. It's just that it gives a person a way to have insurance and put money away. And the idea of insurance before was 30, 40 years of payout or pay into, which again, if you did 30 years or 25 years, that 4.3% adds up, even though it's only 4.3 or 4.2 or 4%, it adds up because you're paying monthly on the policy and it's building, and you can have index as well. So now it's more than that. It could be 9% or 8%. So it can work out. So again, the principles are there, but ordinary citizens are going to have a problem because, like right now, the job market is not the same. So now all of a sudden they can't pay their premium. So now they're going to have part of their premium coming out of their cash value in order to keep the premium, right? So this is because 25-year jobs is a risk right now. Are you going to have one? We're in that era now. So again, it changes how life changes, but we'll see how this goes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up. This was a great conversation. There's a lot of you right now. We got into why credit, but the life insurance, again, credit wise, you can borrow against. That saves your family also in case you pass away. So there's some things that go with it. And since he talked about that infinite banking, I find it very interesting. 3.6 says nah. But again, it everything has a way if you feel comfortable. I don't mind infinite banking the way you can use it, but I don't think you're going to be able to use it. Is the only thing. It's going to take a long time to accumulate, and the way the cost of living increases rapidly, like I say, you have to earn like 100 and what 110, 120, two people, 58,000 is the average wage. And I don't even know if that's before tax or after tax. According to ZipRecruiter, it's before tax. So I don't know what you're supposed to do living paycheck to paycheck and then trying to get an insurance policy that you're going to be throwing money into and getting only a 4.3% plus paying your principal for your insurance. Or it could be higher because they do have the index now, universal index funds and all that stuff. Again, again, insurance is all I can think of is this one thing I always used to tell and still will say again. Do you guys know who invented the insurance? The mob. That's all you should know. The mob invented that stuff, right? So insurance companies make a lot of money. They got to pay their agents, right? So there's extra money added on top. You got to pay the broker, extra money added on top. Annual renewals, extra money on top, all that stuff, right? So it's always been one of those love hates. Insurance is love hate for me, no matter what it is, whether it's home insurance, car insurance, it does not matter. Life insurance, it's all the same. You pay, don't use it, you don't get anything in return. You don't even get a courtesy of going, hey, you know, you paid $2,000 last year, you didn't use it. So you know what? We'll we'll take off $500-600 this year. No, you get nothing. You gave them 2 G's. They keep it. Next year, 2 G's. Oh, by the way, this year it's going to go up an extra $200. Now you're paying 2,200. Next year, 24. Next year, 28. And now you go 10, 15 years, no need to use insurance. All of a sudden you call up and need insurance. They're like, oh, no, you're not going to be covered. We're not going to pay that. No, what do you mean that much? No, you need 40 G's to fix that. No, we only pay out 20. All that time, 10, 15 years, you never had to use it. All of a sudden you do need to use it. They're like, no, we're not going to cover it. It's crazy out here. Do you know where you live? Do you know where you live, man? I wouldn't have known you was live. They really don't want you talking. The world above. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. Hey, man, I know you're like people that have been around for a while. Yeah, yeah. Like I've always said, people don't know where they live. They think everything's equal, and no. Yeah, you're right. We're shadow banned. I've been shadow banned from the get go, man. Always shadow banned. The only reason why things happened the way it happened is because this is on iHeart. Like tonight, if I don't stop this sooner or later, I'm gonna have this on iHeart and Apple Podcasts and all that stuff, right? So they think they're doing shadow banning, but actually, I'm on like podcast stuff that doesn't have nothing to do with them. I'm on Instagram and Twitch and Rumbles and all over the place, man. Now, I don't get paid. Let's just, well, a little something. Not that much. Pennies, pennies. I get paid a little check, less than 20, 30 bucks, 40 bucks, whatever, for doing all this stuff. But the funny part is I've always been shadow banned. So you're not the first person. You won't be the last person going, man, I don't get any notifications. 99% of the people that are subscribed and click the bell do not receive notifications. Like I said, my back office is one for the ages. It's funny as hell. You know what? In fact, let me go show you guys something. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me go pull this up. Let me go pull this up. This is funny stuff. Let me see. Uh, I want to pull up. Well, they changed the back office. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even really look at this. Let me go look at something. Analytics. Here we go. I don't even look at analytics because they don't mean anything to me. What the analytics I want to go for is you guys. You guys think I'm lying, right? Some people think I'm lying when I say nobody watches from outside the U.S. except for a few people. It's funny as hell. Um, Here we go. Here we go. All right. Geography. Okay. I got we got some new news. According to this, I don't know how they called what they call geography. Here we go. 68.4% United States. I don't That's views, I guess. It says geography views. I've never even looked at this in years. Okay. Canada. What did I tell you? Canada, right? Always has somebody. 1.6% is Canadian audience. We have a new participant, the scam country, India, 0.9%. That's right, 0.9%. So we're going to the scam, but they only show me the top three. That's it. This is the last 28 days. Just so you guys, hold on, man. Just so you guys can see, I'm not lying. Told you. That's it. That's it. Now I don't know where the other 70% is. I don't know. But anyhow, just so you guys can see, it's 28 days. That's the last 28 days. Um Top languages. Okay, English. Let's see. They don't even have it anymore. I guess this is on my phone. Maybe on the that's the audience. I'm trying to find. Yeah, they don't even show international anymore. Hold on a second. They used to show international. That is international. It used to be different. Maybe online it's different. I'll show you online. I'll take a screenshot. But yeah, nobody else around the world watches SSN Nation. We talk about DR. We talk about real estate, insurance, just like tonight. Yeah, I know, man. Thank you so much for mentioning it. Thank you so much for being in the house. They always blocking black channels. Joshua Tree, welcome to the SSN Nation. Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. I didn't say it, you said it, but I'm going to say it. They block black and minority channels. You got it right, man. Oh, it's not even that. Actually, let me just Joshua Tree. Let me say the real deal. So now, if I'm out here telling you guys about some BS stuff, in my opinion, lying about crap, saying this, that, and the other, That's one thing. But whenever you can tell somebody, here's a brokerage account, here's where you could some stuff that stocks that the big boys talk about, the insurance conversation we're having tonight. When we start talking about real financial literacy, financial stuff, they only allow a certain number of minorities to be in that area that pushes, because they do push out. And I guess there's ways you can do other things. I mean, you can actually do like commercials or pay to get promoted now on all platforms, but it's against my rules, so I don't pay. So I'm like, if somebody finds me and they're lucky enough to find, and we have these type of discussions, because now we might have people right now going, you know what? Let me go find out about this insurance situation. Let me go find out about getting my debt reduced by Tracy. Let me go find out about, he's talking about 0% interest rate cards that I can move money over to. Since I have debt anyhow, why pay 30%, right? That's ordinary. He's just giving simple stuff, but that simple stuff means you're freeing up. You're now becoming more free. And so therefore they're like, hold on. And again, it's not a black channel, so to speak, even though I'm black, but we talk about something that's universal for everybody most of the time. And so therefore they're like, hold on, he's giving out information that helps everybody. And we can't have that. And then of course they know the audience as well. Quite frankly, they know who's watching. And so now they're sitting there going, well, wait a minute. The actual audience watcher is not the billionaire guy. Okay, maybe 1 or 2 billionaires might come across the channel and be like, hey, man, who's this guy? But they ain't doing nothing. And then the majority of people fall into that $58,000 a year or less. And so when we start talking about stock market trading, now all of a sudden they go, hold on now. Hold on. He's not talking like CNBC. He's actually giving people stats and telling them, hey, Amazon, you know what? Let me go check something out right now. Amazon, I'm going to put this in. You guys can do it too. Amazon, Microsoft, I'll just use their stock symbol. MSFT, Apple, AAPL, NVIDIA. I'll just use those. Oh, I'll do Tesla. I don't think's buying their stock back. Tesla, buying how much of their stock back in 2026. Let's go with 2026 because their 3 years is not up yet. So those companies combined, let's see, they're not even saying. Let's go. Okay. Apple, 110 billion. There you go. Microsoft approved a 60 billion. So now we're up to 170. NVIDIA returned 37 billion to shareholders via stock buybacks and dividends. What does that mean? They don't give dividends. That's weird. I don't know what that means. Amazon has been reining in share repurchases with reports indicating they held off for recent quarters due to plans. 200. They're not going to spend 200 billion. And Tesla is not doing it either. All right. But the combined capital expenditure of Alphabet, Meta, which is Google, Meta, Amazon, and Microsoft is projected to reach 650 billion in 2026. Okay, that's just their expenditure. But nonetheless, these dudes are out here buying back. And only because of what happened this year, these guys would have been buying billions more of their stock. Just these guys. And they have heavy weight on their indexes. Just these guys. Think of all the other 50, 100, 200, 300, top 300 corporations buying back their shares of stock. In fact, let's go check this out. Let's go a Fortune 500. Let's just widen the net. Fortune 500 companies. See, this is the conversation, right? Because if you know this, you don't really have to study a lot of stuff. You just sit there and be like, holy smoke. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Based on projections for early 2026, S&P 500, representing the largest primary Fortune 500 level companies, are expected to continue high volume share repurchases, with some forecasts suggesting total buybacks could reach 1.2 trillion by the end of the year. building on the record-breaking pace set in 2025. 2025 saw buybacks surpass 1 trillion, analysts at Goldman Sachs. So this right here is stuff we talk about and why you need to be in the stock market. You see these numbers, $1 trillion in 2025 on stock buybacks, and you think the stock market won't go up. On what planet would it not go up, regardless of what knucklehead that's driving the train is doing? The stock market has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with the corporations, and they're fueling their own stock buybacks to increase their stock value on a trend upward. That's where the trend is. It's not downward. So even if they have dips, this is why post-retirement travel, MDA, everybody else is being like, oh man, what do you mean it lost 870 points for the Dow? That was just another buying day. Because obviously after that, it's going to go back up. These guys have an arsenal of money to buy back their own shares of stock. The Fortune 500 companies are going to spend $1 trillion. Not all of them can win, but a large percentage of them, their stocks, even if they all go up 4, 5, or 10 or 20%, that's enough for a new all-time record high on all the indexes, which is what happened. You think it's going to change this year? Hell no. But notice some people started reining their things in. I want to say again, remember my 3-year plan when I said at the end of December 2026, because everything's going according to the SSN Nation plan. I'll just say it again. I'm going to keep tooting my own horn. I have to. Because like the world above said, hardly anybody ever sees this. So if they do see it, they'll be telling you, hey, this dude's talking smack. You're damn right, because we called it 2.5 years ago. But it's soon to be 3 years. Everything's going according to plan, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you can't sit on the sidelines. You got to be in the stock market. If you don't want to be in the stock market, then you better learn stock market trading. All right, back to the credit situation at hand. Make sure you get your debt reduced ASAP, because the less debt you pay and the more you can pay towards getting assets that pay you, that is the key. Because sooner or later, when this thing folds up its tent, there's only going to be a few people that are going to be able to win. And the rest are going to get left behind. I used to tell people this all the time. I used to say, I used elevator. People would say, Eric, what's going to happen? I said, listen, if you don't do anything, right now you're riding up on the elevator. We got another 10 floors to go. We're on the 3rd floor right now. Why don't we just drop you off? Because the bottom line is the water's coming up. It'll be on the 3rd floor. But if you don't do anything to get up to the 10th floor, the water might get up to the 7th level and you're toast. I'll be up on the 10th floor waiting for you when you get your head out of your ass. All right? That's it. That's how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. That's the truth of the matter. That's the real deal. You can keep playing around all you want to, but if you're not in the investment game and making plans to always move forward with the investment game, because money costs more later, it doesn't get cheaper. And that's why I always said debt is so funny, because all the rich guys, and even though MDA says they don't, this is why they use debt. Because the debt they borrowed in 2021, look how much cheaper the payback is now, because you make more money in the future. So it's worth less to you. And that's what people keep forgetting. So as long as you can extend it, which is why the US doesn't care about their deficit, means you make more money because you devalue the currency. So since you devalue the currency now, 5 years later, you're going to have to make $150,000 to live in America, for instance. So any debt that you left and still owe, you're going to make more money later, and therefore it's going to cost you less per percentage of your earnings. Makes it easier. That's why the US doesn't care. All right, I'm going to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. You still have you still got 9 months to go. Get your credit in order, and then reduce it, then start buying assets that pay you or putting them into vehicles that's going to pay you. And in fact, I will even go one step further. Use your chat GPT, get yourself, I like irrevocable trust. A lot of people may not. But the fact of the matter is, you need assets into trust. LLCs are kind of whatever. Some people like LLCs, then into trust or vice versa. It all depends on who your financial planners are. But just start with Chat GPT on what you want to do with the trust. I like irrevocables only because you're putting your assets into a vehicle that says it's off limits. You don't own it anymore. It's in someone else's name. Make yourself the trustee so then you can uphold your trust. And that's where your assets sit. And because we're in the litigious United States of America, they can't touch your former assets because the trust owns it, not you. Your beneficiaries don't own any assets either. So again, you can't take any of the payouts because you're going to put in your spend thrift provisions, right? Right? Spendthrift provisions. Make sure just see your financial planners or just consult OpenAI, ChatGPT, whoever you want to, Grok, whatever, and say, hey, form me a trust. This is what I want to do. I want to protect myself, make sure it's under the state law and the federal government laws of the United States. And get with it, will you? All right. But remember, the trust, an irrevocable trust does say irrevocable, meaning whatever you put in there, you can't, I'll just say what the jargon is, you're not going to be able to get out. That's the whole purpose. That's how you protected your assets. Because if you're able to do like a revocable trust, that means it's still in your it's still under your I'm in a mind freeze under your estate. If you have a revocable trust, I'm not here, but a revocable trust, it's in still in your estate if you pass away. So that means it could be attacked, your assets. So just start with the basics, then talk to somebody that's a professional in this. It'll cost you a lot less money if you already have something already prepared. And sometimes you can get people to review it. Just saying, without having to spend the 5 to 10 G's. Just saying. All right, for starters. So this is another reason why they don't like us talking about this, because this is how you can pass it down, your assets, without going through and don't do a will. Please don't do it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're going to have real estate then and you want to pass it on to somebody, then you should add that person's name on there with joint tenants with right of survivorship. So if either one of you pass away, the house goes to that person. And also think about this partnership thing. When you parents out here start doing this, well, I'm going to give, since I have 2 or 4 kids or 3 kids, I'm just going to give all 3 of them the house in my will. Okay, that's going to go to probate. And you better hope all 3 of your kids are level headed, because if one of them thinks they should own the house because they contributed more, then they can contest the will. And by the way, it's 5 to 7 G's for probate. Just for if you tell some lawyer you have probate, they're going to say, I need 5 to 7 G's off the top. After that, if you have some friction, the meter's running. All right. That's why you don't want to do that. It's very simple. This isn't rocket science. So you want to put it into some vehicle that it's set. So if you say, I have a friend right now whose mom has an irrevocable trust. You know what her mom did? She got a loan for the house. She put the title of the house into the trust because the loan is in the individual's name. Because if you put a house in a trust, it changes how you're able to, you can't really go get a loan that easily. All right. That's, you're kind of stuck. You can't go and say, oh, I want a HELOC. Not if it's in an irrevocable trust. So that's why people don't want to put it in there, because they didn't give them the same freedom. But I'll take asset protection over anything else personally. So anyhow, that's just me. So anyhow, the other thing is, She put the title into the trust. She put the house has a loan in their mother's name. She passes away. Mother said, I'm going to give my two children as trustees of the trust or beneficiaries. I can't really remember which one. But they're both whatever. One of them says, I want to sell the house. The other one says, I'm not. Because mom said, as you very well know, I want to keep the house in the family so then people can always come visit and have a place to stay in case of hard times or whatever. But the other person goes, nope. I want my $200,000 or $300,000. I need it. So I need the house to be sold. Guess what? He's doing exactly what you would do with a will. Court, I want to do a partition. I want to force the sale of the house. Or I want my 250,000. Now, the other party can say, here's 250,000, sign over the house. But if you don't have the 250,000, you can't borrow 250,000 because the person that has the loan in their name has passed away. So therefore, the person that wants to keep the house has to now go qualify for the house. They can't qualify for the house, so lawsuit city. Wasting money at the court, even with the trust, because mom didn't write one sentence in the trust. The house is not to be sold. That's all it would have taken. And the worst part is, she actually had a law firm create the trust. The problem is, she was telling the family that even I've not the family, but I've been over before where their mom would say while we're at the whatever, their mom's having a party or guests are over, she would say it all the time. She'd be like, yeah, just make sure you guys make sure the house, you don't sell the house. I want to keep it in the family and I'm going to have a trust. And everybody's like, right on, right on. And then when she passes away, come to find out there's no wording of never sell the house in the trust. But she has both kids as, like I said, I don't know if it's beneficiaries or trustees, but it doesn't matter. They both have rights. So now they have lawsuit, a trust, irrevocable, by the way. So again, that's why you should start now, think what you want to do, and protect yourself. Now, there is one very important thing that I need to give you guys, and that is if you're going to pass property through an irrevocable trust, guess what? There's no step up basis. What do I mean by that? If a person has a will, let's just say the parents bought the house for $100,000. The house goes up to $300,000. Through a will, there's a step up in basis. So, in other words, when it transfers to the new person, the house is at 300 G's. Irrevocable trust. This is one of the things that people are going to talk about. That $100,000 house, there's no step up in basis. So that $300,000 price, unrealized tax could come up. $200,000. Not the $200,000, whatever the tax implications are for that. That's what you may have to come out of pocket with. But don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Hold on. Remember that I believe it's $12 million gift tax? Right. Make sure you do the gift. And if the house is worth 300 grand, it's only a gift. No tax. You can thank me later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. And isn't that beautiful? And so that's also why, like I said, the rich guys wanted the gift tax to increase and inheritance tax also. That's why they wanted to increase it, because the value of homes and things like that rise. right? A person buys a $10 million home in 2000, it could be worth 40 million now. So they're trying to offset all of that, even though it'll never do the 40 million, but that's why they tried to make sure they move up inheritance taxes and gift tax. They're trying to move it up. So your irrevocable can figure it out. Check out ChatGPT. And you can check out lawyers and you can check out online and all that stuff. You know, we live in the best world for information of all time. Why not use it before you have to go see a lawyer? Because otherwise they're going to tax you. Um, I'll let you guys know how much the lawyers costing right now for my remaining parent. Because once again, parents don't listen. You know what I'm saying? They don't listen. They think they want to go with the stuff that they were told when they were 25 and 35 and 40. And I'm like, it's a different world. What you guys were getting, what everything that you were told was for a reason. Do a will was for a reason because they know you have to go through probate and they know how many people, like right now, 70% of the population doesn't have $1,000 in their bank account. So they know if there's a probate situation, people can't even pay for probate. And now the taxes roll up, insurance rolls up, all this extra added money for a house you don't own. It's a liability. And if it has a mortgage on it, oh, that's even worse. So now they know that. So they can figure, you know, the wealthy get the bank gets their house back for foreclosure. And it's a win for them because the house was probably purchased for 120,000 and now it's worth 400,000. So they're like waiting like vultures, like, oh yeah, okay, let them default. Okay, we're good. We don't want to sit around waiting for our money for the next 15 years or something. So again, there's reasons why they want you to do this old fashioned stuff. Don't do it. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. They giving bad info to you. Who's that? Oh, wait. Hold on. I missed something. Oh, whoa. Okay, you got to teach the people. Script writer, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. We'll talk about this on Friday, ladies and gentlemen. I overwent my stay. 2 hours and 18 minutes means I'm not going to be able to put on the podcast. I can, but that's too long. G Cart 7440, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. I see you, CDJ, also on another platform. Thank you so much for being in the house as well. Hi, all is the tagline for G Cart. Talking about investors, G Cart's in the house. They giving you bad info to you. Who's that? Karma Chameleon. David Jackson 093, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live edition, late night. Judah Barak's in the house once again. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. Made AK on futures a day with that bull pump. Judah Barak, I love you, man. I love to hear this. I love to hear wins because we were talking about that stock market trading. That's what we're talking about. And oh, by the way, since he had to bring this up, let's just do it. Candlestick Trading Bible. I'm still going to start with this. You got to study somewhere. Just start. Candlestick trading. Let's go get it. I'll put it in the chat room on several platforms. All right. Go get the PDF, download it immediately. If you haven't already, at least put it in your folders. At least give it to the kids. Let them mess around with it. Do something, man. Don't let it sit there idly by because the stock market is what's going to save the kids later. The lost generation is screwed. You can't even be 25 years old, 30 years old. And if the average wage is 58,000 less your taxes, which means we're in the 40s, that means they can't even live in a one-bedroom apartment at 1,600 because you got to make 3 times that, 3x, without any debt. And the other problem is we have all these kids that went to college, and they're not going to have the jobs 5 years from now because AI is going to have them. So now all of that loan money can't be repaid back, going to be on your credit reports or worse, attached to whatever. Well, you might own something, but attached to something. So now that's a problem. So again, stock market trading, ladies and gentlemen, Candlestick Bible. The link is in the chat room. I'm going to put it in twice just so everybody can get it. Go study. Start that way. And there's plenty of videos. There are different ways that people trade. Just don't be out here slacking. You're going to have to improve. There's not too many avenues that you can go through right now, in my opinion. I'm sitting here like, again, I'm much, much older, but back in the day, there used to be different avenues. Like I told you the story about the guy said, "Hey man, come work with us in the ATL, hang out here. You don't need to go do your life, do this life. You'll make a lot of money." He's right. I would have. But that wasn't me. I didn't want to be like going places telling people to sign up for financial stuff and sign up for this and do all that. I'm not. I wanted a little more fun. But the point is, you're not going to have all these avenues. You're not going to be able to sit around and go, "Oh yeah, well, I grew up in Gary, Indiana, Detroit area, and I'm going to work at the automobile place and be in a union and get paid livable wages and have health care." No, the odds of that happening is slim to none. And you're not going to be rolling out of college and going, "Yeah, I'm going to get that $150,000 a year job" either. By the way, for all of you kids watching this, even though that's not the demographics, but kids now, the average age for first-time homebuyers is 40 years old in America. 40. So kids are no longer kids, even though I call them kids. 30 years old is kids. 35 years old. You won't have a house according to what these are. First-time buyers, their average age is 40, the highest ever. That's the lost generation. That's why I keep calling it the lost generation. Because if you're 25 years old, you can't afford to buy a house because you're not going to be making $125,000 a year generally. Unless you learned stock trading when you were younger, unless you know how to create businesses and make money from social media, because that's where this goes. Opening up brick and mortar is at your high risk, at you that's a risk that I don't even see how you can take, because you're going to 9 out of 10 businesses fail the first year. Another 9 out of 10 failed the second year. High risk, little reward, because you have to work 10, 12 hours a day. You're not just going to get work, have employees, go home. That's not how it works. Plus, you still have accounting to do. Plus, you still have inventory to deal with. Plus, you still have, or you're going to hire somebody for a startup. So again, just remember all this. Whoever is watching this, it doesn't really matter, but the lost generation under 40 is the lost generation, because they're doing everything that they were told to do. Go to school, you'll get a nice job. This is how it's always been. But now they have their replacement sitting at the AI desk right now, waiting on you to retire, to graduate in 2 to 3 years. And if you don't have any skill sets that you yourself individually can do something to create money, you're going to be effed up. So all the people that didn't want to learn about mathematics, didn't want to understand accounting, didn't want to understand taxations, didn't want to understand all of this. You can't just go out here and work at Walmart, can't go work at Amazon, can't go work at warehouses, can't be a forklift driver, can't be a truck driver, none of that stuff, because you didn't train for it. And for the older crowd, you didn't train for it either, because in that generation, they were taught, "I'm going to work for 25 to 30 years and then I'm going to get a pension. And my health care is going to be taken care of through the corporation until corporations go out of business." And now you're left holding the bag. And now guess what's happening? 80 years old, 70-year-olds going back into the workplace, because why? It's very simple. When they retired 20 years ago, 25 years ago, they could live on $2,500, $30,000 per month. Now, all of a sudden, their property taxes are $3,000, $3,500 for the year. And their energy costs are about the same. And their house is falling apart and it needs repairs. And the repair cost is no longer where the guy comes and says, "Yeah, I'm going to fix your sink and all that. It's going to be $150, including the part." No, They're talking about that's going to be $1,000, $1,500, including the part. Huge difference. And their pension is sitting there going, well, I got 2,500 a month from there. I got 1,000 a month coming from there. But now my insurance costs me 6 G's. My property tax is 1.5%. My house is worth 500. So now I pay 6 G's for that. Now my repairs and expenses on my house is costing me about 10 G's a year. All of a sudden, that money starts disappearing. And don't have cars because you're going to have to make sure the older cars are running or the newer cars cost. So either way, both ends of the spectrum are screwed. The only people who's not going to be screwed are the guys here in the SSN Nation. You guys know you better have assets. You better have backups. You better always strive to sit there and say, you know what, I need extra revenues. Oh, speaking of that, God dog it. I forgot about something else. I was doing some Airbnb stuff before I came on as well. And I just realized, I gave a guy an offer that's too good to be true. Well, not really too good to be true, but I gave him a sweet ass offer. And I have to revoke it because I only gave him like 2 hours. So I have to get that off. Where is it? Yeah, I gotta get it off somehow. All right. Well, I thought I could do it while I was on the phone, but apparently I can't. I better figure out where it is. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I gotta revoke this. Yeah. Too bad. So sad. Yeah, I had to revoke this. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry I went on the rant after I went 2 hours and 27 minutes. I'm pretty sure you guys got a lot to say. The small hats community never say they for everyone. Lots of love. That's why they rule. There you go. Zabak the midgets in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. And also, TR, the FERT 8740, bro, you on today. Cool. Thank you. Another person found us. Thank you. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. Yeah, you found the end of it. I started going off because it's getting bad out here. People don't realize. Are you preparing for 2030 turnaround? Hebrew truth. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. I got places in Portugal and Philippines set up very well, very good, because he's done the SSN Nation plan, believe it or not, by default. We talked about bank accounts outside the US. He's got it. Check. We talked about having real estate or a business outside the United States. Check. He's got it. We need your credit score to be at 775, ladies and gentlemen, and up. Whether you're at 750 is fine right now, but get that 0% for 21, 25, 24 months right now. Transfer any debt that you can from any previous credit cards that don't earn you 0%. Put it on there and free up some of that money because you're paying principal and interest on your cards when you could be paying principal. Freeing up that extra interest money to buy assets, not buying liabilities. And like he says, the 2030 turnaround, he's got it close to where I'm calling it. Because I'm expecting a downturn. We got 9 months till our cut deadline was originally December 31st, 2026. It's going to be 2027. And I think at the tail end of that is when things get kind of, it's going to be yucky. So financial. So I think that you'll have that 1 year, 2 year potential time span that things are going to be rocky for all those that don't have extra skills. Because if you have the stock market skill, that means you can use it. Because the stock market, if it goes down or if it goes up, you win. Whereas if you invest in the stock market, buy stocks, and the stock goes down or the Bitcoin goes down, and that's all that you were doing, no hedging, no nothing, you lose. During 2008, 2009, story time, friends of mine retired, 401ks, 1.3. All right. I mean, yeah, 401ks. It was their at their business, right? The for their workplace where they worked at. They kept putting money in every month for the last 25, 30 years, whatever it was. 1.3. All of a sudden, the 1.3 is 1.1. 900 G's. 775. You understand? People are like freaking out. My friends freaking out because 20, let's see, 25 years. I think that's what they were doing. How long did they work there? I think one was in there like 30, not 30 years. The other one was 25, I think, something like that. And they're watching 1.3. They retired 1.3. Woohoo, all good. Money's in the bank, all good. I'm good. All of a sudden, 775. It got down to like 700 G's. They started freaking out because they were only like 50, no, 60 or 55. I think it was 55 actually, because they were in their 50s, not 60, 55 or something like that. So they're like thinking they're going to live another 20, 25 years. The number, and they're in Cali, and they're sitting there thinking, like, wait a minute, I got a nice house and everything. Okay, hold on. They were worried, rightfully so, because they live in Cali. Had a loan actually for the newer house, moved in about 10 years earlier, so 5 years, 10 years earlier. So they're sitting there like, wait a minute. I mean, wait a minute. And they were planning on getting interest from that, but the 1.3 interest is different than the 700. So they were freaking out. They were thinking, "Oh man, I got to get another job. I don't know. Maybe I got to get another job. Go back to the job I had." So I was like, "Oh man." I was like, "See, this is why once again, I'll say it again. You need your own personal way that you can earn income regardless of a job. Because if it falls apart, you need to have the skill set to generate money a different way. And most people that have a job, they don't have skill set to create business and even think about it. So, the end of this live stream, I'll give you one more story. But I agree with your timelines ish. I agree with this. This is why I wanted people to get everything in order by the end of this year. And then there's going to be an upside, as you guys very well know. They're going to spend another trillion this year, right? The Fortune 500s to keep things up here. So you can still invest, you can still make money and all that. And that's why I feel trading will be best served because you'll be able to trade. If you can learn how to trade, which you have months, a year, you can take a year. Just study, just feel comfortable. It doesn't matter. You don't have a timeline. Just learn, and then at least you have a skill set to earn money a different way does not have anything to do with a job, doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. You get to control your own destiny. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, we're already on top of that outside the United States. Hey, chat, TC Hill 8, I see you. Thank you so much for being in the house. Everybody else, we're gonna have to run. I can't even believe I've been on this long, but you guys know how we get out here. Bro, you on today? Cool. Thank you, Ferd. Again, I'm very happy. I was on long enough where you can actually get some of the love in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen. Get your debt. Why credit? Because you need to be able to borrow at low rates like the big boys. Right now, the Federal Reserve, they didn't wait, reduce the Federal Reserve rate. They will next month. But the point is, when they do that, that's only for the rich guys. Just keep that in mind. You want to be like them. What do you do? Mission, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday Night live stream. What do you do when your kids and wife look at you crazy because you want to teach them about investing? Amen. Hey, they can keep looking at you crazy, but you're going to have to take a little bit more. You're going to have to say, hey, which one of you want to earn more money if something happens to me? Just say it. If something happens to me, see, I'll give you guys even too much information. My daughter's mom passed away when she was like 6 years old. So it was easy for me to sell to my daughters. If something happens to me, you're going to need to learn how to take care of yourself. So, I had a little easier out than most parents because one parent passed away. And so, again, that would be conversation. I mean, anything can happen to anybody's parents at any time. And so, therefore, the no matter what age the child is, they should have a skill set where they have survival without you monetarily, right? So just keep that in mind. And they're always the people that don't care is like your coworkers, which is another thing that I've told before when I was working with people, and I would say, "Yeah, I'm thinking about this business, and this is what I'm gonna do," and I'd be running down all this stuff, and then they would look at me and they'd be like, "Well, I don't think that's gonna work." And then I'd say, "Well, okay," just how we had the insurance conversations earlier. I'd say, "Okay, so what do you think?" Then they would be saying stuff like, "I don't think it's going to work." And I'd be, "Okay, why?" And then they would say, "Well, I don't think, there's going to be customers that's going to want to buy your thing." And I said, "Based on what? How are you giving this? How are you determining this?" And so after they're making these kind of statements that you would hear from anybody that didn't really make sense, then I finally was like, "What am I doing? Why am I even talking to you?" It just dawned on me. You're a coworker of mine, and all you do is work for somebody else. That's all your goal is. I don't even know why I'm talking to any of you guys in here about anything. You guys don't even care. You're not going to be running your own business. You're going to be working for these clowns. And they looked at me like, "What the hell's wrong with this dude?" I said, no reason to get all upset. I'm just saying, I just realized I don't even know why I'm asking for your advice. You guys ain't never done nothing. And I'm sitting over here acting like you're ordinary. I'm like, "Come on, man." That's right then and there. I said, "Nah, man." They're like, "Man, what's wrong?" I said, "Nothing. I just realized you guys, you're just workers. You're never going to run anything." I said, I'm telling you about stuff that I'm running, my stuff. And you guys are going, you don't think it's going to work for some odd reason. And I asked you for the reason and you don't have a reason. You're just saying like, "Oh yeah, I don't think you can get the customers," or I'm like, I just told you how. I gave you the whole rundown, a blueprint. I gave you. So do you think it's going to work? And you guys said no. I said, "Okay, you're just coworkers, man. And I ain't never talking to you guys again." Meanwhile, here's the funniest part while I'm having this conversation, right? The funniest part is I already have my office up and running. I'm sitting there working because I'm in my 20s. And I'm sitting there like, "Well, what do you guys think about this?" And I already have my office up and running. That what you guys call executive offices now, they called it back then too, where you had a central, you had a phone. Well, it's a little, I guess, the same. They had a phone. You come in, there's a receptionist, like a business office, right? It's a receptionist there who you're here to see, Eric. Yeah, and I have an office in the suites. So I have my own office. I work here because I'm 23 or 4, and I'm sitting there working because, again, I had this thing. If I told you guys this several times, if my business doesn't work and I fail, then I need a resume to say I worked at this location. That's the way I felt because I was still young. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no way I can guarantee being in my own business that I'd be successful for even at the beginning middle, or end. And the beginning, middle, or end, you never know when that is. It could be next month. It could be next year. It could be 3 years from now, right? So I felt in my 20s, I should at least pack my resume with some nice locations that I worked at. And since we have track records, it shows who's number one, number two, right? So I'm like, fine. And so now then I realize when I'm working with these people, they're just want to work for other people because that's it. They don't know anything about business, never even tried to do business. And I'm asking them, what do they think? And obviously these people are 30 years old, 27, 40. And they're just looking at me like, give me this stuff. And so then there's just certain things when you're younger, it just cracks me up. And then these guys start going, because we all get paid the same, almost, depending on how many years you've been there, because it was in the union, by the way, right? So everybody knows it's in stone. You get a raise every year. This is the amount it's going to be. It's stone. Everybody knows how much people get paid. So one day, after I kept talking to these guys, I don't even know how it happened, but I usually would show up to work within 5 minutes, cutting it kind of close, right? Because back then you had to clock in before whatever it was. Let's say it's 8 a.m. So I get there like 5 minutes till. And when I get there, I park my car in the back. Not like what you might think, like in the back of a building. The parking lot, I would be at the fringe, on the outmost fringe where nobody parks. So when I get there, nobody's out there because I'm only 5 minutes before. So everybody's parked before me. So one day, um, somebody I guess was looking out the window at the office, and they noticed I pulled up, and now I come into place to work, and then all of a sudden this guy walks up to me, or people walked up to me. This is my coworkers. They walk up to me and they said, somebody hit your car. And I was like, what are you talking about? How do you know what car? How do you know it's a car? They're like, that maroon burgundy-ish sports car down there. And I was like, already my eyebrows is up. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why are these guys tripping? How do they know my car? And so they start, oh man, it looks like it's smashed up. And I'm like, my car's like at least 75 yards down. I'm like, how would they even know? So I'm just sitting there like, oh man. Because I'm thinking it's not my car, right? Because I'm like, how would they know? I don't know. I've never even seen anybody out here when I pull up. And so after they do this little rigmarole thing, I just turn around at my desk and I'm like, oh man, all right, whatever. And they're like, you're not mad? You're not upset? You're not even caring? I said, okay, man, I'll play along with you guys, whatever you're tripping about. I said, okay, so where's this car at? And they start pointing out the window. They go, yeah, it's down there. And you can see part of the nose sticking out. And there's like pieces all over the ground. Somebody hit your car out there. And I'm like, oh, man, that's too bad. And I go turn it back, go to my seat. 3 or 4 people come up to me and they go, man, what's wrong with you? You're not mad. You don't care. You're not going out there. I said, I got insurance. What am I supposed to do? It's going to be out there when I get done. I got insurance anyhow. So I'm back to work. I don't know what you guys are tripping about. So, all of this rigmarole that these guys were doing, after I responded in that fashion, they all said, ha ha ha, man, we were all joking. We can't believe you actually own that type of car out here. I don't know how. Everybody knows how much we make. I don't know what you're over here doing. I said, what do you mean what I'm over here doing? Facts. I said, I've been talking with you guys about what I've been doing. They're like, what? You mean that stuff you were asking our opinions about? Yeah, it's actually a business. They're like, what? I said, yeah, I was just, talking with you just to see if I can get something gleaned that I could use for business. But since you guys are just my coworkers, it didn't work out well. So I don't really care. And they're like, man, this is different. We thought you were going to go out there. I told everyone on Facebook you live since they put that hit out on you. Thank you, Joshua Tree. Hey, man, I could use all the support, man, because you're right. They do have a hit out on me. In fact, I got 2 copyright strikes because I was talking about the scam company Miracle and more. And so it's not going to happen. But the point is that these guys have always been trying to do stuff. Even Google themselves were talking stuff. Common man, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. So the point is, we were talking about insurance earlier, right? So in this case, it's car insurance, but you should have life, personal insurance, even business. You have to have business insurance, even though, again, doesn't mean the insurance company has to pay out. But it just goes to show you, you never know who's actually trying to mess with you, who your friends are, who your enemies are. When you up there trying to go up the ladder, you're thinking, hey, I'm just going to ask my coworkers what I'm doing. My coworkers are out there scheming. They're like, oh man, how's he own that car? How does he have that type of vehicle? We all work here together. Where does he live? I mean, these dudes try to get financials on me where I live. I was like, and again, I had a rule. I don't hang out with coworkers. All this lovey-dovey BS, I never was that. Because I would just go to work, come home, go to work. These guys are like, hey man, let's go to happy hour. I'm like, nah, man, I don't hang out. No, man. No, I'm not hanging out with you. They're like, what do you mean? I said, I'm not friends with coworkers, man. I see you at work. You're not my friend, really. I didn't meet you anywhere else. I met you here. And quite frankly, the way I look at it is this: when they're taking our stats, looking at our work, doing stuff, I just got to tell you right now, I'm looking for a promotion. So that means if you're going for the promotion, I'm going for the promotion. I can say, may the best man win. But here's where the problem comes in. We're actually competing for the same job, same positions. We can be friends, but I don't hang out with you, so it don't matter. We ain't don't hang out in the same nothing. I'm not going to the same places you go to. I don't hang out in the same places you go to. I'm not trying to be stuck up or anything. It's just that I have a policy. I don't mess with coworkers. It's easier. We're coworkers. We come here to work. I'm not coming here to fraternize with you guys like that. All right. We can fraternize at the lunchroom. We can fraternize in the parking lot. But I'm not going to be fraternizing, talking about we going to the club, going out, doing all this, hanging out. Nah, ain't going to happen, man. Sorry. And they were all like, man, what is wrong with you? I said, nothing. I'm cool. We all good long as we all getting along and work. We good. I ain't got an issue with nobody up in here. I come in, I say hello, I say good morning, I chit chat for everybody for my 3 or 4 minutes, get to work. Break. Hey, I got some sandwiches and stuff that left over or something. You guys want any or whatever? We good. But no, I ain't going to happy hour with you. And I ain't meeting you at the club either. No, no, I don't hang in your circles. Not me. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm doing some other stuff right now. I'm in other locations, and that's the truth of the matter. All right, we have no power, Kevin Globe. We have no power. Still slave, then die, and told we go to hell anyway. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Kevin Globe. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. We can talk all night now. When you start talking like this, first of all, who's to say this isn't hell right now? Second of all, as you just said, we go to hell anyway, but this could be hell right now. And we could have our prayer for the 9 virgins. We can have our prayer for life and eternity. And that is one reason why the bad guys always come with the good book. We come in the name of the Lord because you're going to forgive all my sins that I'm about to exert upon your ass. Very good. Kevin Globe. Kevin Globe. There's people right now that says that exact same thing that you said. We have no power. Here's how it goes. We have no power until each one of us determines that we do have the power, one by one. Nobody here in the SSN Nation is going to believe that they have no power. Now, you might say we have no power over government. You might say that, but you can vote. They haven't turned that off yet. You could say we have no power, such as the wealth gap is humongous if you're black, if you're Hispanic, but Asians and white people are higher than both Latin and black people. So, yeah, the wealth is way out of skew. When we start talking about 4 or 5% wealth, while if you're in white persuasion, I can't remember the numbers right now, but it's like 75, 80%. Yeah, wealth inequality is huge. Let me get the numbers. Let's get the new numbers because it's got to be bigger than it was 2 years ago in America. Let's go. Black, white, Asian, Latino. They got those numbers. The 4 is usually there, so it should come up in Google. Okay, here we go. Oh, they're not giving me the percentages yet. Yeah, just so you guys know, black and Latinos are the bottom 2, and you're not going to like this, black people. Latinos are usually 1 point above. Let me see if they give me percentage because right now they're giving me, you're not going to like the numbers. I'll just give you some numbers from MoneyWise. This is from 2022. The median wealth for white households is 285,000. 500,000 for Asian households, 45,000 for black, 62,000 for Latino households. That's what I was talking about, ladies and gentlemen. 45,000 blacks are the lowest. Latinos, like I told you, was like 1 percentage point higher, and they're talking about 62,000. That was 2022, so that's about right. That was back, like I told you, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was talking about this. This is a thing. And this is why, by not doing protections, by them telling you get a will and you believe it as a black person or a Latino person, is because they know you don't have the money to withstand laws. Going to court, probate court is 5 G's each person, and you guys always want to get in arguments, right? So that's why the parents should have been told, like I tried to tell my parents, they won't listen, but get a will. I mean, get a trust. Get an irrevocable trust since you have a house free and clear. So therefore, no problems. And then put in the rules how you want to do it. But then again, they do the usual thing. They go, well, since I have 3 kids, I want to make sure all 3 have an equal say. Well, see that equal say thing? Or giving one a say, it could go south. Because then there's going to be arguments one way or another unless you have a strict rule in your trust. But even then, a person can go against what the trust says as a trustee. So it makes it very, very hard. But then some people use like a law firm or a trustee firm. But nonetheless, let's get to 2020 by percentage is what I need. Because it just about what I told you before. Although the Asian household was median income, wealth was more than white households at 500,000. That wasn't true before. So that says 2022. It used to be the other way around. But let's go check this out in 2025 because, the feds actually have the number. Let's see what they have right now. Oh, I was still close. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 80 white households, 84 to 86% of total U.S. wealth. Median wealth is around 1.5 million. Wow. Heavily boosted by stock market gains. Now, do you understand why you need that credit, ladies and gentlemen? You need to free up that debt so you can put it towards stock market. All right. Here we go. Black households, roughly 12% of the population holds only 2% to 11.4% of the wealth. I don't know why there's a range. Why are they doing that? Because it used to be, I'm going to tell you, it used to be I believe 4%, 4.5%. And then Latinos was like a point higher, like 6.5 or 5.5 or whatever. But now they're saying 2% to 11. They say the average wealth is 352,000. But get this, 28% of black households having zero or negative wealth. Wow. Out of this 2 to 11. So, yeah, so that actually ends up being 28% is a fourth. So that'd be 11.5 divided by 4. So we would be around almost 4%, which would make sense. Okay. Now, Hispanic, 9% of households and hold 2% of the nation's wealth, but average wealth is around 285% or 285,000, which is below black. Before they used to be the opposite, flipped. So black people have actually gained a little bit. And 26% of households, in Latin households, have zero or negative wealth, which is a fourth of that. Geez, they've reduced dramatically because they used to be a little above blacks. And then Asians, 7% of wealth. That's about right. They were always ahead of black and Latinos. 320,000. But that's from 2021. So I don't know why that's from 2021. All right, so there you have it. Here we go. Just so you guys know, 35% of white Americans' financial wealth is in stocks and mutual funds, compared to 8% for blacks and 14% for Hispanic Americans. Meaning stock growth disproportionately benefits white households. There you go. Now, do you understand why we have to talk stock market, ladies and gentlemen? You're losing out. The house is not where the money is. I used to have a chart, by the way, that showed the more a person gets wealthier, it moves into businesses. A house is at first what they consider wealth, only because homes started going up after 1980, ridiculous amounts. And then after that, once they get to a certain level, it starts reversing. Less real estate, more businesses, and more stock. It's in equities and business. That's where the wealthy's money is. So when you see this, 35% of the financial wealth for white people is in stocks, mutual funds, that makes sense. Because the other part of it is businesses. Whereas black people is only 8% in the stock market. And then trying to generate a business is very, very hard because you don't have the wealth to begin with, nor do you get the financial backing, meaning loans or anything else to start a business. And 14% Hispanics is along with the black people, but more Hispanics invest percentage-wise in the stock market. Just saying. Okay? So that's why we have a wealth gap scenario in America. And it's going to continue. Let's get real. I'll just get to the whole bottom line, all right? Okay. Pro Tools Shed, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday Night Live Stream, the late night edition. I can feel that. Exactly. FGD, what stock is good right now? Okay, we can't go with that right now, man. FGD, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday Night Live Stream. Okay, let's just put it to you plain and simple. I just was looking at how much the Fortune 500 companies are going to invest earlier in this live stream. They're going to invest over stock buybacks, $1 trillion. Okay. Now, I can't really remember because it was earlier and I just glossed over it, but I believe Tesla is not doing any stock buybacks. Apple put on hold $200 billion worth of stock buybacks, which is incredible. They put that on hold. Can you imagine Apple buying that many? Whew, their stock price would have increased for sure. But I believe we have Google, we have Amazon, we have Meta. They're going to buy about $130 billion Just those three companies, all right, combined is 130 billion they plan on spending this year by themselves to buy back their own shares of stock. So clearly, the U.S. top 30 stocks is going to buy back their shares over $1 trillion. The Fortune 500 means the top 500 companies. So that means the indexes are going to move up. So you can be on the NASDAQ, the SPY, the QQQ, and enter like a Vanguard group or whoever and want to get whatever. But again, you got to pay them a fee. So you'll probably get your 12% or 10% or 9%. Or you can invest in individual stocks. Take your pick. Nvidia's probably still going to be good. AMD, any of these chip guys, the tech guys are probably still going to be good. They're favored companies. But we don't really talk about that because MDA might, if he's still here, because he does financials, which is a good way to start. Do you? But I do not. Steve G, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday Night Live Stream. No, I don't. MDA0214 does. I know Post Retirement Travel, I think he does as well. There's several people that buy bonds. The only reason is bonds 4.34 is 4%. I don't understand. I that you could just buy JEPI at 8%. That's a stock from JP Morgan. JEPQ is around 10%. So I don't, that's why I'm no real estate investment trust. Um, ORC, um, AGNC, uh, PSEC, which they should be fine. NLY, MFA, ARR. Yeah. And then you're going to see anywhere from 13, those all I mentioned, anywhere from 13% to 19% dividends right now. And the reason why real estate investment trusts, they're going to refi their loans because the Federal Reserve is going to reduce their interest rate at probably twice this year, if not three times, after Jerome Powell gets removed. Then chairman that's going to be appointed by Trump, he'll vote to reduce rates. Powell will still probably be on the board. But now instead of having, I don't know what the number was last time, but now you're going to have another vote to reduce rates. So if they were close last time, let's just say it was 7.5, they could be at 6.6 now, or flip the other way to get, and hopefully they don't do something crazy like 1 percentage point, because that would be crazy. But you never know the way these guys are rocking, because Trump and company, they don't care. They're not looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves, because they know that's why he wants to reduce it to zero. So him and his fellow billionaires and multimillionaires can refinance all their property, all their commercial property, all of their corporate debt, all of their debt. They're going to have special treatment with the feds. So if they can get it from 3.75, 4.25% down to 1 point, let's say 2.75. Do you guys 1% on trillions of dollars is a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. So these guys, all of a sudden, they can reduce, and then another 2 or 3 months go by and they say reduce another 1%. All of a sudden, you're down to 1%, 1.5, 1.7. Now you're going to ruin, there'll be inflation and there'll be all this other stuff, but the wealthy, they're going to be making out like bandits. That's why I like real estate investment trusts, if you want to know. That's why I don't like bonds, because why take 4% when you can get over 3 times that without a sweat? Just go real estate investment trust right now. Rates are going to be reduced. Real estate investment trusts are going to refinance their loans. That's going to free up additional capital. Just saying. So that's my opinion. I'm pretty sure everybody else has theirs. Ready for the next disaster. Everything is nuts these days. Exactly, Terry O'Veal. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. Very happy to see all the new faces in the house. Thank you so much, Joshua. All right. Yeah, it's nuts, man. I still have not made the video about the bad news, like manufacturing jobs gone. Not only are manufacturing jobs gone, the businesses are gone. That and also transportation companies are gone. Lots of them, all-time record highs, gone out of business because of the tariffs, and the shipping companies are not shipping in as much product. So therefore, the trucking companies don't have enough trucking going. So now they're going out of business, right? They had to file bankruptcy records 2025. Uh, by default, you're going to have the same thing. Since you don't have enough goods and services, you have 40,000 people to date that's going to be laid off between Amazon and UPS. This just keeps going. So when you start talking about 1 million jobs, 2 million jobs gone, never mind the markets that have left. So now the Chinese aren't buying soybeans from our farmers. Farmers are now record high bankruptcies. Then the taxpayers get a $12 billion bill to go pay bailouts to the farmers who have no business anymore because the soybean market went to Argentina, who we gave $40 billion of your taxpayer money to. And guess who gets the soybean market? Argentina. So now, next year and this year, farmers have no market to sell their soybeans and other products to China because China moved on, went around to other countries in South America and Central America. So now farmers are gone. Our food supply is going to cost more. Our food cost is going to rise. It can't go down. But Americans, there's plenty of jobs. Come on, patriots. You need to go out there and go help and get that stuff picked up by the farm. And by offshoot, you guys see the string, right? The offshoot of that means the businesses that are associated with farming, meaning John Deere, the tractor guys, all the new tech that's come out that farmers would normally buy, all the feed stores, all uh, the livestock they can't get, they don't have the money. So now those businesses now go out. All the transportation businesses that was delivering and picking up from the farms, they go bye-bye. Do you see how the dominoes just keep going? And then somebody gets up on stage and goes, everything's going to be fine. Just trust us, bro. Nah, man, everything's not going to be fine. The dominoes, the cast has already been died. It's rolling downhill. The snowball's rolling downhill and it's getting awfully big. So when Terry O'Veal, I agree with you, man. The next disaster is going to be after next year. I told you guys already 3 years ago. I told you 2026 December, you need to have the 750 credit score. You need to have real estate outside the United States. You need to have bank account outside the United States. And if you don't have real estate outside the United States, you need a business outside the United States. At least form a business. All right. Not saying you need to run a business. I'm saying at least form a business, have a business bank account. Then you need to have a personal bank account, at least two different banks outside the United States, outside the USA control. All right. And that next disaster is going to happen. Then now you can do the worldwide tour just like the wealthy do. You can say, okay, I have options. Because as long as you have real estate and a bank account and you can actually have money come into that your bank accounts, or you now are going to have preferred options when you go there, because then you can go there and say, hey, I need residency or I need long-term residency and I have property here. Here's my bank accounts. Here, this is how much money I can ship over here every month. Usually they have that too. That you got a couple things. You can have real estate, residency, year to year. You can have financial, and in some countries it's only 1,000. Some is 1,500. Some is more. But the point is, you don't have to worry about residency requirements if you already have those couple of things in place, because they're saying, okay, he ain't just some tourist. He's got bank accounts over here. He's got a business over here. Okay, all right, I see you. I see you. You're gonna try and make things better, right? So that's what we do, ladies and gentlemen. All right. The world above, I think we live in a simulation, man, for real. Man, it's getting that way. You know, I used to hear people say that for years. And then it started to be like in the last like 5 years, it's like Matrix. I mean, it is weird. Some kind of weird test or something. Exactly. It is weird. At first, I dismissed this all the time. I've heard this for the last 15, 20 years. And I would dismiss it. They'd be like, man, we're in a simulation, man. Don't you? I was like, man, whatever. But then now it is. It's like everything's like a pre planned bad news for basically people that are marginalized. It's wild. I agree with that. Now, I wouldn't, before, I wouldn't even dismiss it entirely, but that's what it seems like. I was thinking about that earlier this week and last week. I was like, man, them people used to say something like that. And I was like, because it came up last week on something I was watching. And I was like, man, these people might have something because it seems this way. All right, Gary Wolf said, Elon Musk said people won't need to save money anymore. Don't worry, people aren't. 7 out of 10 people don't have $1,000 in their bank account. 6 out of 10 people don't have $500 in their bank account. Oh, and by the way, yeah, speaking of that, it's a good thing he brought that up because last year is the lowest savings of of Americans in like I don't even remember what the number was. Um, let's go. What is the savings rate of Americans in 2025? The worst since. Let's go see. Yeah, that's actually no shocker though. Okay. Uh, U.S. personal savings rate has fallen to its lowest level since late 2022. Some data indicates that, excluding that specific 2022 period, which was during the pandemic, so therefore, of obviously, it's going to be the lowest because it was pandemic. People weren't even at work. It has reached its lowest level since the 2008 financial crisis. There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the pandemic actually that would make sense. So the I don't know what he's talking about because I don't know if this dude's on drugs some of the time because the way he says stuff, he said we're going to have robo taxis 10 years ago, and now all of a sudden he's saying it again. Elon Musk said people won't need to save money anymore. I don't know what he means by that. He's the only one that can get government contracts from and subsidies for companies that have made no money for 20 years. I mean, yeah, he's the only one that doesn't need to save any money. I mean, this is crazy. I can't even take this type of stuff seriously from a guy that gets subsidies and government contracts and special treatment from uh, protection from your government for products you sell, like the EV vehicles he sells. He's got United States and the EU protecting them for the last 20 years from outside competition, meaning the outside competition, which are not our allies, such as China and other India and all those places. They don't allow their cheaper versions of their EV vehicles in our marketplaces. They restrict it, and they give him special exemptions on taxes. And uh, you mean he doesn't need any money because he gets free money, our taxpayer money? What do you talk? I don't even like to hear stuff like that. Like I said, I've never met this man, but I never probably will because I don't like people talking crazy when they're the ones getting free money and they're talking about they're the rich guys. They're the last person that should be getting rich money. They should be the first ones that would have to be like a mom and pop business. You want to do it, you spend your money. If it fails, you lose. You don't get to get, you know, subsidies and tax cuts and tax breaks and free land and don't have to pay taxes for 5 years and all this crap. Sorry. Sorry. Peace. Wiser than most. Peace. What's up, fam? Is his tagline. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. All right, this is the rant night now. Ain't no more pension. Exactly, Fert. Exactly. The lost generation is screwed. Even people that are now in their 40s to 50s are going to be screwed. And you know what else is messed up? All the people that are putting money into pensions, they're screwed. It's a ticking time bomb. I just talked with my daughter, and I used to work in a place that was part state of California and part not. I was in the not part. And they have a pension fund. My daughter works for the state now. We had a conversation about a month or two back, and I was talking with her, making sure she's on point, which she was. Hey, you putting some money away. What's your 401k looking like? You maximizing it out. Uh, what's happening? When are you going to be vested? How many years more do you have? Um, and I said, but how much you how much do you have to pay into your pension? Because here's the situation. Back then, a person could retire at 50, 55 because if they started at 18, 19, 20, by the time they're 50, that's 30 years. So they've maxed out everything. And so there's no reason to continue to work there when they can just leave and still get checks. So, uh, you know what she tells me? She says, I said, and so I was talking about our health, the health is wealth. And I said, and because of the generation I'm in, people started working out more. So those same people, they're not dying at 65 and 61 and 68. They're going to be dying at 80 or older. So how are they going to pay the pensions? She goes, you know what? She says, we're putting in, they opened up another pension fund. So we have to pay X amount into that old pension and X amount goes into the new pension for us. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. That's right. They have a separate pension. The new workers are putting money into the old one because it's a Ponzi scheme. Because each time a person retires and they get a pension, that means you need new workers, but now you don't have the same amount of workers. You have less workers to pay for the previous generation of workers. That's a Ponzi scheme. Can't be paid, just like Social Security can't be paid. Same thing. So, like he said, it's just going to blow up. FERT 87, whether it's he or she, but FERT, yeah, pensions are out the window. And even if they are there, then like the first Treasury Secretary, um, buying up Sears. Yeah, these guys, man. I don't even know how people like these dudes. Um, Steve Mnuchin. He's part of this group of people that bought up Sears. Sears, guess what? Had a pension. You know why they bought up Sears? So they can raid the pension. Also, the Treasury Secretary, speaking of these assholes, had a bank. I think it was called One Bank in Southern California that they bought. Him and his partners, I guess, bought the mortgages where people were senior citizens. They were foreclosing on elderly's mortgages. Well, what's elderly? 65, 60, 70. They're foreclosing on them. Did not care. This was our Treasury Secretary 8 years ago doing this kind of crap in our government, talking and doing all kind of crazy stuff. Dude should have been in jail, but instead somehow I don't even let me get started right now. Them assholes. All right. In fact, you know what? Let me go look this up because so that's right. Let me go. I think it was called One Bank, right? One Bank. Steve Mnuchin. I think Soros is in on it. Yeah, One West Bank. That's them. Um, I'll just put her elderly. I don't want to give any gossip, even though it's not gossip, but just what I was telling you. I just could. Here we go. Steve Mnuchin, CEO of One West, 2009 to 2015, 2017, foreclosure king, reverse mortgage. Remember those reverse mortgage situations? And the ones you see right now. Do not do them. Parents, do not do them. Grandpa, grandma, don't do reverse mortgages. Do not do those. All right. Anyhow, that's what he was trying to do. He did do. And heavily criticized initiating foreclosure proceedings against a 90-year-old woman in Florida after she missed a payment of roughly 27 cents for homeowners insurance. Because some of the loans you have to have your insurance goes with your loan, possibly, whatever. But that's just one thing. He was over there doing all kind of stuff. Reverse mortgage, targeting financial freedom, a company acquired by One West, foreclosing on seniors with reverse mortgages. Straight up. This asshole. Wrong for foreclosures. Reports indicated that in some cases the bank initiated foreclosure even when homeowners were in compliance with loan terms. Yeah, 89 million settlement, but it was in 2017, it looks like. 2019 discrimination case. Freaking asshole. I don't even want to keep reading this stuff, man. So disgusting. All right. Yogi Rajman, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. Since everybody came in a little late, go over here if you need some help, Americans. Findhelp.org. Matthew Lesko, thank him. The late night infomercial king that used to talk about grants and still does. Findhelp.org. Go there. You need some help with a lot of different things. Put in your zip code, and hopefully your state and federal government has sent money to the nonprofits to help you out. Make the phone calls. Some of it's free. Some of it costs a little bit of money. So go to findhelp.org. And if you need to get yourself credit-wise out of debt faster, then you need debt consolidation, debt resolution. Make sure you go hit up by email Tracy. I'll put it in the chat room once again. Tracy.sharpe at moneyladder.com. Sharpe has an E at the end. All right. SHARPE. So Tracy, TRACY .sharpe at moneyladder.com. And there's an E at the end of Sharpe. Hit her up, and you can see a video from about 2 years ago, maybe, when she came on the channel and explained when she worked with another company exactly what they do. They restructure your debt, just like if you're one of the rich guys. And that way, that frees up a lower payment. That lower payment, now you have money that you can make to invest. Don't get more, don't do anything crazy. You want to invest, ladies and gentlemen, with the big boys. All right? Just keep that in mind. All right. Hopefully that gives a start for a lot of people. And hi, bro, from Yogi Rajman. Thank you for being in the house. Oh, we got more, it looks like. You're doing great work for the people. Thank you so much, man. Greatly appreciated. Don't forget, come back on Friday at 6:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You see it down below, 9:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry, not 6:10. That's Pacific time. I'm in Pacific time zones right now. So just wanted to let you know. Here we go. Oh, I'm glad this young man coming up next is talking about this, because I have to talk about it. Is your Bankus card working? No, not working. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because Bankus has Zoom calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And here's a link to the Zoom call. I'm about to put it in the chat room. Here's the situation. They have the card, what is that? Maintenance going on, right? So the only card that could work from your Bankus account is going to be for online payments, or, well, I don't think you can add it to the Google Play yet, even though you're supposedly going to be able to. Then you can tap it. But as far as activating your card, you cannot right now. Card under maintenance was supposed to be done last Thursday. No, 10 days ago, no, 2 weeks ago, Thursday. Did not happen. So anybody receiving a new card, you can't activate. And I don't even know if you can activate your digital card right now. My digital card is activated, so I can actually use that, but and it's intermittent. So I only tried it like one time for $1 or something, and then after that, I never tried it. But in the chat room, here's the link for the Zoom call tomorrow. They do answer questions. And they'll probably tell you because somebody's going to ask, hey, man, what's going on with the app? There's supposed to be card maintenance was supposed to be redone. And they said on Monday, they expect whatever by Friday. But see, again, with electronics and computers, I don't believe it because you can't just arbitrarily figure out the day. And then I start getting a little worried. So I'm just going to say this with Bankus. I'm going to let you guys keep you guys up to date, but that's the situation. It went into card. Hold on, let me go check right now. Is it still card maintenance? Let's go see. So you can't activate anything. As far as I know. Like I said, because somebody asked on Monday if there was going to be, they couldn't activate their card, I don't think. Either one. They got their new card and they were asking about the digital card. My digital card's activated. Yeah, see, it's still under maintenance. So integration in progress. Now they said on Monday, Friday. But like I said, 2 weeks ago, Thursday, they said it was going to be Thursday. And now it's 2 weeks later. So then I get a little worried. So the point I'm trying to make is check the Zoom call tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern or 8 p.m. Eastern. They do two a day. So you can ask the question or somebody's going to come up with the question first. But they did say Friday on Monday. By Friday, they're expecting. So we'll see. And again, a lady on Monday asked about her digital card. She could not activate it. So then the guy said, well, it's intermittent. Probably shouldn't even mess with it until the card's under maintenance is done. So I'm going to give them grace for probably another 2 weeks max. After that, I'm not going to be so gracious because anybody who ordered the card and who, since they've had this card under maintenance, that means nobody, the people with card under maintenance means they could not activate their card. All right. I can't even show you my digital card now because it's actually, or the card number is real. But yeah, so my digital card, I got my card and my CVV number on the back is all there. So I can do something with I can't even use it though, because card under maintenance, I don't think it works. I'll probably try a dollar transaction tomorrow. Let me see. Can I buy something for a couple dollars or something, $2 or $3? I'll try, but we'll see. And I'll come back on Friday and I'll let you know. I'll try and do like a little charge on my digital and see if it works. But no, your card should not work. And if you if you have a Visa card and you ordered the metal card for the Visa before, if you didn't get it, then your account's going to have your digital card, but then they're going to send you a plastic MasterCard. At least that's what I think it was. I don't remember if they're going to send a metal MasterCard or not, but I know they were going to send out a plastic card for everybody that had a Visa metal card before. All right. So hopefully that covers a couple of questions you may have. But with all that said, everybody please download, use the Bankus link I have, because that gets you to download the app. And in case they do come up, at least you'll already have the Bankus app. All right. And there's referrals. You get like 1%, I think it is. I don't even know what it is, but for referring other people, there is monetary situation that can happen if people buy the cards and if people upload. I'm not recommending you buy the card. All I'm saying is please use the link. Make sure you download the Bankus app. Please, using the link. It's in the chat room. So then that way, if it does work out, you'll be the first to know. All right. And now we have one other thing that MDA0214 does not like, because we had Seamless Genius on like 2 weeks ago, almost about 12 days ago, 2 weeks ago, Friday. And she talked about Prime Wealth Advisors that she's been doing for about 6 to 8 months, 8% per week using crypto. You upload crypto to Prime Wealth Advisors. The day you upload is each day weekly, they give you 8%, and you have to start with $100 or more. So do your own research, because basically there's not any real research I have done. I have not uploaded because, once again, something I detest is I used Coinbase. Well, I don't use Coinbase that much, but I've used Coinbase before for a higher amount. Geez. And now I just deposited $110 because I'm going to put in $100 on Prime Wealth Advisors. So here's I'll put in, wait, I got some other things to do on different platforms where I'm putting in the Bankus app. And so the Prime Wealth Advisors link is going to be down below. Once again, you refer other people. Yes, you get a little bit of money or something, but they don't take it out of your 8% or out of your money. So the 110, this is one of my problems that I have with crypto, and it's disgusting, right? So I deposit 110 on Coinbase. Coinbase says, okay, we're going to take $1 and 1%. So they're going to take $1.10. And it was USDT. So now now I have 108.90 less, I think it was, right? Something like that. 108.90 something, or 108.910, 92 cents, whatever it was. It doesn't really matter. The point is, now they're going to hold it. I did this on Sunday. I look at the thing and says I can't send until the 27th out of the account, which is Friday. Sunday to Friday, I can't send. So on Friday at who knows what time of day, I will be sending to Prime Wealth Advisors 108.90. And now the blockchain is going to have a fee. Now, here's the thing. So let me go look again, because I did USDT. Oh man, I messed up. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I messed up. Hold on, I think I messed up. Did I really buy USDT? Because if I did, I don't think they accept USDT. That's why I'm thinking, hold on a second. I don't think, uh-oh. That means I'm going to have to convert it to like Ethereum or something, which now means more fees going to be taken out, which is crazy. Again, that's just crazy for me, right? Okay. I see right now I got a problem. Just a second. I have something for the chat room here. Prime Wealth Advisor. Just check it out, ladies and gentlemen. 8% per week. Like I said, 6 to 8 months, she's been getting the 8% every week. Everybody that's involved, and she's been getting it. I don't have any track record from these guys. These guys, I don't even know who they really are. You got to do your own due diligence if you want to get in. But that's why I said I'll just do 100, because you'll double it in like 2.5 months. I don't mind. Um, it's just a gamble at this point. I'm not going to throw 5 Gs or anything like that in there, 10 Gs or nothing, but we'll start and see what happens. Now, of course, everybody would say, well, what happens? You could have put more money in. Well, see, that's just it. In light of all the crypto scams out here, it's not saying they're a scam or anything, but in light of all of that, um, I just found a new podcast on Listen Notes. One of the, yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't even know who they are, but we got to stop struggling now. Podcast on listennotes.com. That's pretty cool by accident. How cool is that? All right. Because I actually, what I did was I put in the earn 8% that you guys see on some of the channels. I put that in on the search because I thought I was just trying to check on if I just had the link, and it came up. That's funny. All right. Well, some other place I didn't even know about. All right. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we're going to do this. All right. So go check out Prime. It's a link. Yes. I would not advise putting any substantial amounts of money in there. What you can lose, that's it. Tip monies or, party money, just a little bit of money just to see if it works. Is your Bankers card working? Says D Mac. And once again, um, I don't think it is. I don't think it is because people were asking on the Zoom call on Monday. They were asking about it, and apparently people's cards weren't working. And they said because there's card maintenance. And then some person asked my card, I can't activate my digital card. And again, they said card maintenance. And then another person came up and said I was able to activate my card under card maintenance. But the recommendation from the leaders was just wait till it's done. Don't even mess with it, just in case there's a glitch or something. So I don't know. But I can check. I can't. Well, is my card's act? Wait, is my card activated? Oh, I can't even use my card. I have to use the digital. My card's not activated. Here's my card. Right. My card's just the plastic card, not the metal. I don't really care about ting ting. I can listen to this clack clack too. I don't need metals because this card has the tap feature. Metal cards do not, or at least the Bankers metal card does not. So, uh, and I just like being just a tap. I don't. So it's a personal preference for me. No reason to pay $85 for a metal card when I don't really care. So I just paid $35 for the plastic card. Now the shipping costs 15. But again, I don't recommend buying the card, but I do recommend using my link to download in case later on you decide after if this starts working where people are activated, because I haven't activated this. That's why. That's the whole point. I couldn't activate it because this card maintenance thing, but my digital card, since it was on my account, I activated this card. I didn't have for it went to my other address, so I waited probably a week or two, and then the digital card was already on my account because it said they already shipped it. So they put the digital card, and I activated that, and that's why my card I have the CVV and I have all that, and I used it for $1. But the Bankers card I can't activate, so I can't use it. And since that card maintenance came, I haven't tried to use my digital, but tomorrow or maybe then later tonight, I'll try and use it, buy something for $1 or two and see if it works. I don't mind testing. That's what I'm here for, to help anybody out, just in case if this works out. Now we'll get to the matter at hand. If this works out, that money that I uploaded, that $100 that I uploaded from Coinbase to oh, that's right. I need to get in here. Hold on a second. I got to do something real quick while I'm talking. I got to log in to my Prime account since I got to do a little work right now. All right. So anyhow, back to the situation at hand. So as a person was saying, 2030 Philippines and I can't remember the other place, whether it was Thailand or whatever. And they said that they did an investments outside the U.S., which I love hearing that because that's what you should be doing, ladies and gentlemen. That's really what you should be doing. America's like a rogue nation right now. Even the EU's like, hold on, man. I thought we were friends. We're going to have our own software now. We can't rely on the United States anymore. We don't know. They might start doing so. In fact, we better have our own banking system now because what they're doing to other countries is cutting them off. Yeah, they started rethinking their enemy of their enemy is their friends now. So they're looking at the USA like a rogue nation and they're saying we don't want no part of it. They're going to go against us, biting the hands that help feed them, that help protect them. They're just like, nah, man, we ain't going with that. All right, deposit wise on Prime Wealth, crypto plans, 8% weekly, and yes, USDT ERC20. So, yes, that works. USDT TRC20, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. So it looks like that 108.90. That means by the time it hits prime wealth, it'll probably be what, 106.50, roughly thereabouts. So that's what it'll probably end up being in the account, I'm estimating, because I think it's going to be like dollar 50 or whatever for USDT, right? So, but so the 110 is going to be something. I'm anticipating, let's say 106.50. The problem, which again, I always call problems because what I don't like is I know USDT, whether it's ERC or, well, TRC is even going to be even cheaper. But whether it's on either one of them, I know it's not going to be any $10 or anything like that. So now you get the 8%, right? A week after your deposit, comes over to withdrawals. And for what I understand, you can only withdraw on the blockchains of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, I'm not going to withdraw the $100, obviously, but I'm just talking about, so there'll be 108. So I'm not going to withdraw at all, quite frankly. Probably until it doubles up. So it'll be 2.5 months later or whatever. But if we get there, we get there. So then I'll withdraw 100 on the Bitcoin or Ethereum. And that's where, how much do you get after that? Is it going to be 90? Is it going to be 93? I mean, how much of that you're going to lose after you got your 8%? Are we going to lose 8%? You follow? That's where I'm going. That's the problem that I see. So the fact is, I hope they change it or add USDT because then whether you send 100 or whether you send 1,000, it's minimal, or 2,000, it's minimal. Because if this actually continues, then obviously I would throw maybe another 100 in there, another 200. And if it keeps paying out month after month, okay. But we're all skeptical because 8% per week is awfully crazy. That is awesome, but still that smells of Ponzi scheme. So risk whatever you can lose if you want to try and be in on that game, but use the Prime Wealth Advisors link that I put in the chat room and on several platforms as well. You guys will have it. I'm going to wrap this up at 3 hours and 45 minutes. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I appreciate your support. And for everybody out there, I love you guys very much. And I appreciate those that are actually telling everybody else to come here and enjoy the fun. And I'll see you on Friday at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why we have to talk like we talk. Why you need the credit is important. That's the only way you're going to be able to build wealth if you don't already have wealth. And you have to use it strategically. If you're going to use credit, you're going to have to get assets. Assets such as a credit score at 775 is beyond your wildest dreams when you only have a small portion of wealth. Just by having a credit score, you can borrow, you can get an FHA loan and get yourself a fourplex. It's already generating revenue, right? They start playing a whole different game. And you only have to put down 4%. Just saying. Where are some of the cheapest properties or fourplexes, threeplexes? You want a threeplex or fourplex, ladies and gentlemen? Where can you go? You go to the Midwest. In cities, Ohio, Indiana, but they're near cities. There's populations. It doesn't cost that much. You can get an FHA loan, 4%. And guess what? You can go to findhelp.org and you might find somebody that can help you with mortgage down payment. Just saying. This is not hard, but you got to get yourself in position. Even though you don't need a 775 credit score, you can have a 620. You can have a 500 now. Not 500, 580 now. Yeah, they're being a little more lenient. So you even have more of an opportunity, but you still want your credit to be excellent, even better, because you need to build that. If you can't build wealth by buying, then you build wealth by using debt to buy it. Do what the rich guys do. But whenever you buy that property, make sure you get a return. You need money coming back. Do not do anything crazy. We'll have a real estate discussion anytime, but don't do anything crazy. Don't do this crazy stuff where you go, oh, I'm making $200 per month. Don't do it then. You're going to have potentially more than $200 in expenses a month. Because if you have renters, something's going to go wrong. So don't even think like that. You need something that it makes even if it's, it's got to be like 2,000. It's got to be something. Don't even mess around with just a little bit. People are getting these loans where it's $100, $200 profits, 2 G's a year, 3 G's. I'm like, hold up, man. Do not do that. Especially if you have tenants. Don't do that at all. You got insurance bills, you got property taxes, they're all going up. So don't play around with these skim marks, these little skim profit margins. No, you need to think reasonably. All right. If you buy something, if you buy something for 100 grand, well, they won't be. Let's say 200 grand. All right. And let's see, we're going to be at 2 G's. Yeah, you're probably going to be at like 33 G's a month, let's say. So we'll be at 3%. So no. Hold on a second. Let me get my mind together. We're talking 8. Okay, so it might be at about 1,000 a month, right, for the mortgage and insurance. Yeah, probably about right. Okay, mortgage, insurance, and all that's 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, something like that. You have 3 places, $400 per month. Maybe the rent is in those locations is only 800, 900 for the units. So that would make sense. 2,700, 1,400, or sorry, 1,300, 1,400 coming in. It starts getting dicey, but things could be 2,700 coming in, $1,100 expenses. So that starts making more sense, right? We got 1,600 after the mortgage, insurance, tax, good to go. So that might be a little more palatable. But doing stuff like you owe 1,200 and you got all 3 tenants or 4 tenants and you got 1,400 and only have $200 or $300 profit, don't even waste your time. Don't even waste your time. Your water bills or whoever pays that, your sewer, water, garbage, bills are going to go up. So, and do not, oh man, this will have to be another. Do not include any of that stuff. Water, sewer, garbage needs to be in their name. Energy, electricity, gas in their name. You do not cover anything for tenants ever. Because if they let that stuff go up, all right, Don't put your name on none of that. All right. In your agreement, they pay for all utilities, all of them. Do not take on that. They don't pay it. That's their problem, not yours. All right. Okay, I'm going to get out of here now. Just remember, people are in stress and duress, so just make sure you try to stay calm. Try to keep your head straight. Try to stay focused on positive vibes and positive things for you and your family. And just pay attention. You got to pay attention because there's always people throwing daggers, trying to make sure they're hurting you. They could be your friends, they could be the loved ones, they could be your enemies. You just never know. So you got to be on the straight and narrow and make sure you focus on what you need to focus on and don't let anybody sway you away from your dreams. And with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, just make sure no matter what you do out here, always keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.